back after it. For Steve Lyons, I'm Keith Olbermann. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, Bob Brenly on deck to bring you the action. Stand by for this break, and then please let us take you out to the ball game.
Championship Series between the New York Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everyone. I'm Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, and Bob Brenly in just a moment. Around these parts, the fans and the Cardinals themselves wondering what in the world they're going to get out of their young 21-year-old left-hander Rick Ankiel, who starts tonight. Are they going to get what he did in Game 1 in the division series against Atlanta, when he lasted only 2 2/3 innings and unleashed 5 wild pitches in the 3rd inning? Or, and he's good enough to do this, will he shut down the Mets attack as the Cardinals try to even this series at a game apiece? I welcome in my partner Tim McCarver. And Tim, the Mets think they know what they're going to get out of Al Leiter tonight. He has a proven track record. He's been good in big games in days past. But let's talk about the Mets offense. They're getting more offense, it would seem, lately out of the big bats in their lineup.
Coach of the Mets, John Stearns, last night saying the monster is out. Well, the monsters were out, and were the monsters ever mashing last night? Mike Piazza with an RBI double to start off the Mets in the 1st inning. Robin Ventura with the sac fly, and Todd Zeile with his first home run in postseason. So the guys who were 6 for 42 in divisional play, 3 for 10 last night.
One name that was not on that list, probably the toughest out in the Mets lineup, is Edgardo Alfonzo. For more about the All-Star second baseman, let's go down field side and talk to Bob Brenly.
Well, thank you, Joe. You know, in a city of superlatives where everything is the biggest and the brightest and the best, Edgardo Alfonzo is being hailed as the best baseball player in the Big Apple. His first All-Star game this season, what figures to be the first of many, carried that regular season success right into the postseason. A 7-game hit streak in the postseason, 4 games with at least 1 RBI in the postseason. The only question is he even the best Edgardo in the Alfonso family?
Father, brother, heck, everybody. Nephew, Edgar. All that's left is a family feud square off with a Foreman family. We square off in Game 2 of this National League Championship Series, the Cardinals and Mets. Stay tuned. Baseball next up. For his high school in Port St. Lucie, Florida, where the New York Mets have their spring training. He takes on the Mets here 4 years later at the age of 21 in Game 2 of the National League Championship Series. The Autotrader.com starting lineup for the Mets. They lead it off with Timo Perez. Edgardo Alfonzo batting second. At second, Mike Piazza. The monster was loose last night, 2 out of 4, and an RBI double in the 1st inning. Todd Zeile will clean up, so he moves up in the order. Robin Ventura against the left-hander moves down a spot. Benny Agbayani is hitting 6th, hitting 7th, and he homered last night. Jay Payton. Kurt Abbott is at short. Talked about it during the pregame that Mike Bordick is bothered by that sore right thumb. Al Leiter pitches and bats ninth. The defense for the Cardinals, 4 new names that weren't in the starting lineup last night for Tony La Russa, including Fernando Tatis over at 3rd base, who missed the majority of the season with a torn groin muscle. Eli Marrero doing the catching, and Rick Ankiel, the left-hander, on the mound tonight for St. Louis.
Rick Ankiel on the mound, and Carlos Hernandez is not catching tonight, but Eli Marrero, a much more athletic catcher. Ankiel 11-7 on the year in 30 starts, 194 strikeouts, breaking the record by a rookie set by J. Hannah Dean, a.k.a. Dizzy, from Wiggins, Mississippi. Man.
Right back where he left off. First pitch, head high to Perez. Bob Brenly, you were watching Ankiel warm up. He was all over the place.
Oh, he really was, Joe, especially with the fastball. Seemed to have better control of that big breaking curveball than he did of his fastball. Bounced most of them in the dirt, but clearly that ball up and into Timo Perez to start the ball game.
So 1 ball, no strikes, and Perez, I'm sure, is not dug in at the plate. Ball 2, 2-0, and the 21-year-old is charged up here tonight.
An electric fastball and curve. Can he get it over? He needs to simplify things, and he must throw to the 4 corners, and we'll explain that after this pitch.
A strike. Draws that response from this sellout crowd at Busch Stadium. 2 balls and a strike. Too much inside, 2-2.
Instead of Rick Ankiel throwing for the catcher's mitt, A better target would be the four corners, the two shoulders and the shin guards. It gives him something bigger for which to throw instead of that small mitt.
The 2-2. Full count.
3 up and in, 2 right down the pipe.
Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan sweating on a cold night in October, watching Rick Ankiel bring home a 3-2 to Perez. Got him on the outside corner, 1 away.
How about that? Perez was taking. He was taking on a 3-2 pitch. That's how wild the Mets think Rick Ankiel's going to be. The first fastball, close to his head. The second one, closer to the plate. Right down the pipe. 2-2. Watch this pitch now. With the count 3-2, Perez is taking. Unbelievable.
1 out, nobody on. Now Alfonso takes a bender in for strike 1. The crowd, which was taken out of the game from the first at bat with Perez's double into the right field corner last night, is into every pitch here in the first inning tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike on Alfonso. Piazza waiting on deck. Another full moon in St. Louis, as we had last night. 1-2 on Alfonso.
If Ankiel is throwing like he can, that ball's not going to look as big as that moon to the Met hitters. It's going to look a lot smaller.
That's foul.
Now, Timo Perez may have been trying to bunt. Remember, he did bunt a 3-2 pitch in San Francisco, but it looked more to me that he was taking the 3-2 pitch, hoping that it was going to be called a ball. I've never seen that before.
Tim Tashita is the home plate umpire, and he gave Ankiel a couple of borderline pitches in that first at bat. That's not borderline. That's like Nuke LaLoosh and Bull Durham. 2-2. Might hit the side of the bull before we're finished. He's got guys in the third row ducking. Brentley's ducking back there. Bob, you all right down there? You ducking? You feel like you're safe behind that screen?
So far, so good, Joe, but I'm going to definitely keep my eyes on every pitch.
There's another one for you. 3-2.
That was closer to Bob then. Hang loose, pal.
Did you scalp those seats before the game or what? Those are high-rent district seats down there.
With the left-handed pitcher, Joe, I think I should move to the other side of the aisle. It looks like he's wild high and away from the right-handers. I'd be safer on the other side of the aisle.
3 balls, 2 strikes, as it was with Perez. And a 1-out walk. This broadcast also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. We're glad you're with us. Game 2 from St. Louis. 1 on, 1 out for the Mets, who got 2 runs in the first inning last night, led throughout, won the game 6-2. Here's Piazza, who got the Mets started, at least RBI-wise, with an RBI double. Drive home Perez last night in the first. 1 on, 1 out. And a wild pitch. Will stay at the backstop. 1 ball, no strikes, and this is borderline ridiculous.
Well, you know, it really tells something about the wildness of a pitcher when they put a more athletic catcher back there. Marrero, a much better athlete than Hernandez, who is also nursing a bad back.
You know, Tony La Russa,
nobody's going to catch that ball.
Tony La Russa will say it time and time again. We don't worry about the mental makeup of Rick Ankiel. He's a tough 21-year-old. He's a tough kid. He's been through a lot. This isn't mechanics. Come on. He's lost all his mechanics, and he can't get the ball to the point where the catcher can even catch it.
He's throwing like a mechanic right now.
A right-handed mechanic who's trying it left-handed for the first time. 1 ball, no strikes. Runner at second, 1 out. The Mets trying to take advantage of this first inning wildness on the part of Ankiel. A breaking ball is high, and it's 2-0.
From a catcher's standpoint, what can you do? Well, you can flash down the fastball and curveball, and you can also set up inside to a right-handed batter. By setting up inside and accentuating inside, you can bring it through like that.
2-1.
You can make the target off the plate as opposed to the middle of the plate. Look at Marrero right there. He'll set up. Remember the 4 corners. Of course, he's right behind the plate. That pitch on the inside corner.
Runner at second, Alfonso, 1 out. High heat for Piazza. It's 2-2.
Joe, it certainly appears that Ankiel on the last couple of pitches finished his follow-through, brought that left arm all the way across his body and down below his left leg, his right leg rather. On the pitches that have been sailing back here to the backstop, it really looks like he's quitting on his delivery, not following through all the way.
The 2-2 to Piazza. High drive down the right field line, and that'll jump out of here. Foul ball, still 2-2.
Bob Brenly, that is the reason that I suggested Marrero set up inside, even off the plate to the right-handers. This is what Bob is talking about. You can see he's throwing across his body with that right foot pointed toward first base. A lot of times if you straighten that foot out and throw it right at the plate, you're throwing more in tune with the body.
The 2-2, full count. Rick Ankiel had never had control problems in his young pitching life. I mean, high school, minor leagues, even last year when he came up at the end of the year. But during spring training, Dave Duncan and the Cardinals were worried about Ankiel throwing across his body because of one arm injury after another. So they started to mess with his footwork, get his foot cleared more so he didn't have to step and throw across the body, putting stress on his arm. And by doing that, it obviously bothered his release point, and at some point bothered his control. And it has come front and center here in October. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Piazza. Runner at second, 1 out. And there's another wild pitch to send Alfonso to third. It's ball 4 to Piazza, and it's first and third, 1 out.
You just have to wonder, when is enough enough? Once again, this is what Joe and I are talking about. And Bob, watch the right foot stop about midway between first and home. Now the delivery, the follow-through, it's called throwing across your body. Here's the sequence on Mike Piazza. More like a sequence out of Wild Thing. Curve, misses. There's a strike. Piazza swinging through a pitch. Now he fouls one off. Not even close. Farther away.
It's one thing to be wild. It's another thing to do this. And you can't tell me that the mental side of making this start and the surprise start in game 1 of the division series, Tony La Russa going to Rick Ankiel instead of Darryl Kyle, did not creep into the psyche of Rick Ankiel at some point, because he has never been this wild. In this, his rookie season, when he won 11 games, lost 7, and had an ERA of 3.5. 7 wild pitches already in 3 full innings in the postseason, compared to the 12 during the regular season in 175 innings pitched.
Tony La Russa is getting someone up in the Cardinal bullpen.
1 ball, 1 strike. You would expect Britton Reams to start loosening for St. Louis here in the first inning.
Britt Reams, who started 7 games. Cardinals only used 6 starting pitchers this year.
The 1-1 to Siegel. And there you highlight the athletic ability of Marrero. Carlos Hernandez with a bad back isn't moving around so well behind the plate. And this is why Marrero made this start.
I got to ask Bob Brenly. I know I'm thinking up here. It is terrifying when you get a pitcher out there who is as wild as Ankiel has been, Bob.
Well, you're absolutely right, Tim. What you end up doing is taking strikes away. You're so defensive back there behind the plate, just trying to knock down these wild pitches. Then when he does throw a borderline pitch, you usually push it out of the strike zone in your haste to make sure you get to the ball.
Well, the count's 3-1 on Zeal. Reams has not thrown a pitch down in the bullpen, but that'll change here momentarily if Ankiel can't find the strike zone. He's walked 2 consecutive batters, thrown 2 wild pitches, and he has to guide one into the strike zone here with Zeal at the plate, and he does to run the count full. Ankiel has been 3-2 on every hitter in this first inning.
I don't think you send Piazza right here. Chance of a strikeout's too great.
Not running, and a shot into center field for Edmonds. That'll get a run home. Tagging and scoring is Alfonso, and it's 1-0 New York. So the first time the ball is put in play, it's a sac fly for Zeal to put the Mets out in front.
We mentioned tied with his first home run in this postseason last night, and doing the job, scoring Alfonso as the Mets once again score in the first inning. 2 last night, 1 so far tonight.
Talk about an uneasy feeling as Ventura digs in.
Yeah, because that's where he's been wild. Ankiel has been wild up and away to right-handed batters, and that's where Robin Ventura is standing right now.
The 1-0, 2-0. On deck is Agbayani. Already 28 pitches thrown by Ankiel.
With Ankiel, that could help him. The more pitches he throws, the more tired he becomes, and that fatigue might get him into the strike zone.
The 2-0, not close, 3-0. And still Britt Reams has yet to throw a pitch out in the Cardinal bullpen. Three balls, no strikes for well out of the strike zone. And that's the 3rd walk to go along with the 2 wild pitches, and finally Britt Reams will get loose out in the Cardinal bullpen.
Will Clark will come over from first base to talk to the 21-year-old left-hander. Dave Duncan's already been out there, so there can be no more delaying tactics to give Reams more time to warm up. And that's why home plate umpire Tim Tashida is going out there to say, Will, I know what you're doing, so let's go. Let's go. Tashida's right behind him. Will? Okay, let's go. Let's go, Will.
Well, we talked about Will Clark's influence since he walked through the swinging doors of the Cardinal clubhouse, and one of the guys that he has been on, so to speak, and talking to and trying to teach has been Rick Ankiel. J.D. Drew and Ankiel have been the star pupils for Clark. And Ankiel was so good in September. 2 on, 2 out, ball 1. How good in September? 3-0 with an ERA of 1.65. And his last 7 starts of the season, an ERA of 1.97. 1 ball, no strikes. 1 ball, 1 strike on Agbayani. All Al Leiter's thinking about right now is that it's only 1-0. Through all of this, not anymore. Into left center field. That will plate Piazza. Cut off by Langford. They are going to hold Ventura at third, and it's 2-0 Mets here in the first inning. Just like last night, 2 runs in the first inning and a chance for more for the Mets.
Even with Mike Piazza in the lineup, nobody's bat does the ball explode off of anymore than Benny Agbayani. First RBI of the League Championship Series, one of the heroes for the Mets, with a 13th inning home run in Game 3 of the Divisional Series. Makes it 2-0.
A good note for Agbayani. Sitting all 6 he's played in the postseason, and now with 2nd and 3rd, 2 out. Breaking ball stays high on Payton. Let's go to Keith Olbermann. Keith.
Joe, as Jay Payton and the other Mets watched this Mark Wohlers-esque performance by Rick Ankiel, I asked him as he stepped out of the dugout, "You sure you want to go out there?" And he smiled nervously that you could do that and said, "I'll take one for the team if necessary." Joe?
Well, that's the end of the night for Rick Ankiel. Ankiel's stay was 2/3 of an inning. And with a score 2-0, 2nd and 3rd, 2 out. With another run, only 1 wild pitch away. Down already by a game in this series, Dave Duncan, Tony La Russa are not going to play around with this first inning of Game 2 any longer.
There's no way you can spot Al Leiter any more runs.
So the Mets come up with 2. 3 walks in the inning, 2 wild pitches. And with 2 runs home, runners at 2nd and 3rd, 2 out. Payton at the plate. Britt Reams will take over. Yes, Reams is into the action here in the first inning. A disastrous first inning for Rick Ankiel. More than the scoreboard, 2-0. That's not the end of the world for the Cardinals, but 2 disturbing outings by a guy touted by some as the Rookie of the Year this year in the National League, the 21-year-old left-hander Ankiel.
And to me, Joe, there is a bigger issue than these 2 games. You're talking about a 21-year-old pitcher with electric stuff, a great fastball, great curveball. What's this going to do to his future? You're talking about a career here, and I don't think that's overstating it.
2nd and 3rd, 2 out. Reams will inherit the 1-0 count and pitch to Payton, who's ready to swing, and that's strike 1.
You know, Joe, you mentioned the numbers for Rick Ankiel in the month of September. Keep in mind that those games were thrown to Mike Matheny, their regular starting catcher. Not to take anything away from Eli Marrero or Carlos Hernandez, but once you develop a relationship between a pitcher and a catcher, it's tough to go away and have somebody new back there and try to keep you in your game.
Mike Matheny watching from the dugout as Reams is ready with a 1-1 pitch to Jay Payton, and now Payton steps out. Ankiel 2/3 of an inning. 3 walks, 2 wild pitches. 2nd and 3rd, 2 out, and a 1-1 pitch coming to Payton. Strike 2.
Nasty splitter from Reams there. Reams pitched in 1 game in the divisional series. This ball really going down, and Payton swinging over it. But Reams had never pitched in relief until he came to the Cardinals this year. He had 8 appearances, 7 starts. So this is only his 3rd career relief appearance. Signed with the Cardinals in 1995, 27 from Seneca, South Carolina.
The 1-2 to Payton. Breaking ball low and away. Payton is gone, and Reams comes in and shuts the door on the Mets. Now it's Al Leiter's turn. He goes to the hill. Mets, the starting lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals, brought to you by Autotrader.com. They lead it off with Fernando Vina. Then batting 2nd and short, Edgar Renteria. Jim Edmonds hitting 3rd and center. Fernando Tatis makes his first start of this postseason with Will Clark at first. Sean Dunston in right. Ray Langford's in left field. Eli Marrero's batting 8th. And now it'll be Britt Reams batting out of the number 9 spot, taking over for Ankiel. The Mets defensively, same look as they had here last night, with the exception of Abbott at short. Bordick out, hit by a pitch in last night's 9th inning. His thumb can't rebound. It's swollen, so Abbott's at short, and he is a step down defensively from Bordick. Here's a step up from what we saw from Ankiel in the first inning. Al Leiter, 16-8 during the regular season.
That led the Mets staff with those 16 wins. Mike Hampton last night started with 15.
That pitch right there is a pitch that's crucial for Al Leiter against left-handed batting.
Al saying the difference between facing left-handed hitters this year and in past years was that fastball inside. Those are his words. But this year he has tailed that fastball inside the left-handers, and left-handers are batting .116 against Leiter this year.
A ball and a strike on Vina, who had a hit in last night's game. Now strike two.
Tim, in his last start in the division series, Al Leiter broke numerous Giants bats, especially the right-handed hitters. A lot of ball pulled weakly foul down the third base line. A lot of broken bats, just reinforcing how important it is for Al Leiter to work that inside corner.
He's ahead on the count on Vigna at a ball and 2 strikes. And got him looking. And Vigna gets into the face of the home plate umpire. And now backs down a bit. Vigna is in danger of leaving this game because of Tim Tashita, as he's the first out here in the bottom of the first.
Edgar Renteria, the sage 25-year-old for the Cardinals, getting him out of there. Now that was a breaking ball. Even if Piazza catches it around the knees, keep in mind it had a loop in it. So when it crossed the plate, it was higher than when Piazza caught the ball. Vigna thought it was low. Leiter got the call.
1 out, nobody on for Renteria. Bob, you just heard some naughty words down behind home plate, didn't you?
Oh, actually, no, Joe. Just some very spirited, decent words. Yeah, Vigna just thought that pitch was low. He expressed his concern to the home plate umpire, and Tim Tashita did not agree. And guess who's going to win that argument?
Off the glove of Ventura, and that's a base hit for Renteria. 1 on, 1 out.
I guess it'll be scored a base hit. Yep, it is scored a hit, but it could have been scored an error. Robin Ventura, in past years, that ball hit the heel of the glove, not the webbing. Watch it hit the heel of the glove. Shooting past years, the Gold Glover, 7-time Gold Glover, sucks that ball up.
Well, he's jumping higher this year.
Oh,
That's why it hit the heel. 1 on, 1 out for Edmonds. Not an error, but I think Robin Ventura would agree, a miscue here in the first inning, and Edmonds bats. Renteria, huge lead over at first, and get ready to watch a lot of that tonight. Al Leiter threw over to first base 186 times this season.
does not have a good move to first base, but a lot of left-handers, the very fact that they're facing the base runner is often enough. That odd way, the Mets hold runners on with Zeal going back to the bag. Leiter almost leading him to the bag.
Ball one down and into Edmonds. In case you're wondering about the 186 throws over to first base by Leiter, pickoff throws, that was number 2 in the major leagues to Armando Reynoso, who not only has a good move to first, but has the best move in baseball to second base. A 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes on Edmonds, who was taken.
Well, the reason that Met pitchers are encouraged to throw to first, as you see Fernando Tatis on deck, is to protect their catcher, Mike Piazza. You talked about it last night, Joe. He's thrown out only 12.7% of the base runners this year, only 16 out of 126. And the Mets realize that Mike needs all the help he can get from the pitchers.
The Cardinals will run tonight on this combination of Leiter and Piazza. Leiter slow to the plate compared to Hampton last night. And Piazza last in the league in throwing out potential base stealers. So again, a lot more of this.
There's a move to first base. And as we said, it's not a good move. And to reiterate a point that we made earlier, it's funny how speed slows down the game.
That's 4. Renteria and Leiter, teammates from the '97 world champion Marlins. Yes, they were world champions at one point. That's on the outside corner, 2-2. In fact, Leiter started that game 7, and Renteria won the game with a 10th inning hit.
Now Leiter thinks that pitching left-handers inside opens up the outside part of the plate. That pitch is unhittable, particularly when you have to guard against the pitch inside.
Not only 5 throws to first, but they're really not particularly very good throws over to first base, or very deceptive throws. Renteria reading it easily. Now he goes. The pitch is a ball, and Renteria steals second standing up. Third steal of the postseason. He had 21 during the regular year.
That's what you have to do. You have to get around Todd Zeile. The Mets play the first baseman off the bag like that to block out the runner from seeing the pitcher. As you could see, Renteria was beyond Todd Zeile, had a good jump, and went in uncontested.
Now the 3-2 to Edmonds. 2 out. Second strikeout for Leiter, and he has struck out each of the 2 left-handed batters he's faced.
Again, opening up the outside part of the plate. You'll see Jim Edmonds swing that weakly too often. Here's what we were talking about. You could see Renteria on the other side of Zeile. He had a good look at Leiter, knew he was going home, and stole second base easily.
Now it's Tatis. First start in this postseason for Fernando Tatis, a big weapon who has not been in the lineup because of poor play. Big swings, home run swings. I know it caught the attention of Bob Brenly last night, the way Fernando Tatis swung in his first at bat and his second. He was 0 for 2 in the game after he entered in the 7th. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bob, you hadn't seen Tatis for a while, and I know those swings last night caught your eye.
No, they really did, Joe. When I had seen him earlier in the year, he was staying on the ball very well, driving the ball to the opposite field when pitchers worked him away, and still quick enough to turn on the fastball inside when they tried to come in on him. Last night he was swinging at fastballs on the inside corner, even though they were not thrown there.
2-1. So far 0 for 14. That includes the Edmonds strikeout tonight. 0 for 13 last night with runners in scoring position. A shattered bat and a blooper into center for Alfonso. And the first inning, a long first inning, is over. A 1-out hit by Renteria. Still second, was left on, and after 1 in St. Louis, 2-0 New York. Finished the top of the first inning with a strikeout of Jay Payton with runners on at second and third. And he works to Kurt Abbott to start it for the Mets here in the second inning, up 2-0, and misses with ball 1. The numbers for Abbott during the regular season: he's been bothered by a bad back. He too was a Florida Marlin back in 1997. Utility player, 1 ball, 1 strike, and he's in the lineup tonight because of the injury suffered last night in the 9th inning by Mike Bordick. There's Bordick. Mike was hit the right thumb on a pitch by Mike James, who had just surrendered 2 home runs. That's out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch last night. Off the thumb. They showed it during the pregame. Bordick was working out prior to the game, and Bobby Valentine said he can't grip the ball properly, can't grip the bat properly. He's usable tonight, and they hope to have him back in the lineup after a day off tomorrow. Game 3 on Saturday afternoon at Shea. Two and 2 on Abbott.
Throwing inside last night particularly suspicious because Todd Zeile had homered, and Jay Payton had a 2-run home run before Bordick was hit.
Abbott leading off. Almost walked into that pitch, and it's 3 and 2.
Sometimes a pitcher, out of anger or otherwise, will throw a hitter inside, not trying to hit him, but not caring if he does.
3-2 to Abbott. Is fouled back here. You might get more offense out of Abbott. As I said earlier, you take a step down defensively without Bordick in your lineup. The Mets used 7 shortstops this season. Gone through shortstops like Spinal Tap went through drummers. Guy would show up and then they're gone. Abbott didn't mean to, but he's gone, and that's 2 batters faced and 2 strikeouts for Britt Reams, who's basically making an emergency start here tonight.
That was ball 4. That turned into strike 3. Christopher Guest wrote Spinal Tap. Did he
got
not?
it.
One of our favorites.
Yep. Now has Best in Show in theaters. After scoring with our simple senses of humor with Waiting for Guffman. Strike 1 on Leiter. By his own admission, a very poor hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike. He was only 3 out of 58 during the regular season. No RBIs. Didn't even fall into one. And he grounds to the right of Vina. Tricky play, and Leiter's on. Tough little hop at the end, and with a backhanded try, Vina commits the error.
Now, the one thing Fernando did not consider, perhaps, is that he had a lot of time to get Al Leiter. Al is not a fast runner. He wasn't running hard on the play. Most pitchers don't. Their job being on the mound, not on the base paths.
So now Timo Perez will stand in. Perez, one of 2 outs that Ankiel recorded. If you can think way back to the top of the first inning, a 3-2 pitch that Perez shortened up and basically took for strike 3. Ball 1 outside from Reams, and the third base umpire Dana DeMuth says, well, Tashida didn't call it a strike. Perez went around, and it's a strike nonetheless. 0-1.
They went too far. Good call by Dana DeMuth.
1 on, 1 out. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Kind of gives you an idea of the athleticism of Eli Marrero, going to his left and smothering that splitter from Britt Reams. Marrero, a victim of testicular cancer, beat that a couple of years ago. Certainly a warm story back in the big leagues.
Perez pops it up. Tatis over to give it a look. He's there, 2 out.
I said testicular cancer. It was cancer of the thyroid. Beg your pardon. But still a valiant story about a young man who has battled his way back to the big leagues, not only for his career, but this year. Was hurt sliding into second base. Was sent down on a rehab assignment. Came back up in September.
Now Edgardo Alfonso with a runner at first, 2 out. 2-0 Mets here in the second inning. Strike 1 from Reams, who in a very short while has been impressive. Not just in this game, but in the 2 previous playoff games. He came in and gave valuable innings in relief of Rick Ankiel in game 1 of the division series. Pitched the 7th and the 8th. And the Cardinals 7-5 win, and they got the win, was credited with a win when he picked up for the injured Garrett Stevenson in the clincher game 3 in Atlanta.
Bob was talking last night about Darryl Kyle and how he has such an unorthodox quick delivery, compact delivery, tough to pick up. Bob, it looks like Britt Reams is similar.
2 the count. On the inside corner, inning over. 3rd strikeout for Reams. Clark, Dunston, Langford coming up. Mets on top 2-0. Of downtown St. Louis. From the brilliantly illuminated Sanyo lightship. Rare is it that a 2-0 game feels so lopsided. But it is 2-0 Mets here in just the 2nd inning. With the Cardinals down 1-0 and facing Leiter tonight. It was tough against a lineup that is heavy with left-handed hitters. The Cardinals will try to climb out of this hole. The Cardinals in LCS history have never lost back-to-back games here at home, at least at Busch Stadium. And a ground ball pulled foul outside first. The Cardinals moving into Busch Stadium in 1966. LCS play starting in 1969. May 12th of 1966. You remember those days?
Surely do. Moving from Sportsman's Park here to Busch Stadium. Sportsman's Park about 12 miles from here on Grandin Dotier used to be. And the All-Star game was played here in 1966. Casey Stengel made one of his famous non sequitur remarks. He said the ballpark held the heat well.
Yes. 1 ball, 1 strike. Clark leading off. Took ball 2. That's really the only highlight that you see, or at least that's the first highlight from the '66 All-Star game, where fans fanning themselves with programs. Clark, then Dunston, then Langford for St. Louis. Taking on Al Leiter. 2-1 pitch. 2-2. Leiter just devastating against left-handed hitters this season, more so this season than in years past. Easy pop up into left field for Agbayani. 1 away. That'll bring in Dunston. This season, Al Leiter, dealing with left-handers, held them to a .119 batting average. Only 3 home runs in 118 at-bats. So far, lefties tonight 0 for 3 against him. And in their careers against Leiter, the Cardinal left-handed batters hitting a combined .175 with 1 home run, which belongs to Will Clark. 1 out, nobody on for Sean Dunston. Grew up in Brooklyn. Last year was traded at the trading deadline to the Mets, was part of their postseason fun. And now is back with the Cardinals, signing another contract during the offseason, and he has been one of the bench players for Tony La Russa in the year 2000. From catcher camp, Piazza reaching up and away. It's 2-0. Cardinals thought they were doing Dunston a favor when they traded him to New York for the pennant drive for the postseason. And a guy who's from New York, and he was crushed when he was traded from St. Louis and immediately signed back with the Cardinals during the offseason. 2-1.
Boy, was that a great shot of that cutter from Al Leiter. You could see it darting in to Sean Dunston. To the left, that gives you an idea of that movement from Al Leiter. That was a cut fastball.
Dunston down the left field line. It's fair and into the corner. An extra base hit. Dunston has a double. Thought about trying to go to third with 1 out, but Agbayani corralled it. And it's the first extra base hit for the Cardinals tonight.
Another cut fastball, but somehow Dunston keeps it fair. That's the problem right-handers have against Al Leiter, putting the good part of the bat on the ball and keeping it fair. It looked like he broke his bat.
But Sean Dunston throughout his career has been a maximum effort player. He runs hard from home to first, which gives him the option of maybe attempting to go for third. Saw that the relay throw was online, thought better of it, and hit the break. Sean always goes 100%.
And now Dunston in scoring position for Ray Langford, who in his career is 2 out of 8 against Al Leiter. On the outside corner for strike 1. You asked Tony La Russa before the game, well, what's Langford against Al Leiter? 2 for 8. No manager pays more attention to head-to-head matchups and history between 2 players than Tony La Russa. A little too far outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Side story, one of many in this LCS between Bobby Valentine and Tony La Russa. Not a lot of love lost between those 2. 1 ball, 1 strike. Big swing. Strike 2.
Ray Langford struck out 148 times this year and only 392 at bats. That's 1 strikeout for every 2.65 plate appearances. The worst in the majors.
He's set up here. Leiter has 2 strikeouts tonight. 2-2. Don't tell me they put an ad on the eye black now. What does that say? Red Lobster or something on the eye black? There's something written on there. Shop at Jimmy's. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner at second. Says if you can read this, you're too close. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Langford trying to put the Cardinals on the scoreboard. Now ball 3 with a right-handed batter. Eli Marrero, the catcher, on deck. Mueller.
It'd be Miller in San Francisco.
Mueller.
Third baseman.
Good, they got their money's worth out of that. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Runner at second, 1 out. Langford into left center field. Agbayani mishandles it. Over to third is Dunston. Rounding first, but holding there is Langford. First and third, 1 out.
Why was Todd Zeile in the middle of the infield? Todd Zeile should be at first base. He has no other place to be. If he's at first base, then they might throw behind Langford. This ball poorly played by Agbayani. He is not a good left fielder. He's in there for his bat. Through the wickets. Holding up was Dunston. Now goes back, and now he has to dive into third base. Langford, on the other hand, who hit the ball, and it will be scored a hit. He's not running hard. Now watch the turn. There's nobody back at first. Todd Zeile wandering off of first base. Had he been at first base, and really there's no other place for him to be, then they throw behind Langford, get him in a rundown, and perhaps get the out.
He and Keith Hernandez didn't cover that play during spring training, evidently.
No, they didn't.
First and third, 1 out. Eli Marrero at the plate. During the regular season, 17 RBIs, limited at bats, 102 on the season. A fastball in for a strike from Leiter.
You know, Tim, a guy playing out of position as Todd Zeile has been all year, normally a third baseman playing first base, those figure to be the kind of plays that he would have trouble with. Not necessarily picking up the ball, throwing the ball, but where to go on a questionable pop fly into left field. Should he go to the cutoff position? Should he stay at the base?
He ran into Ray Langford then, going back to first base.
Those two came up through the Cardinal organization. They're standing close next to one another over at first base. As Marrero grounds one to second off the chest of Alfonso, a run scores, and it's 2-1. RBI ground out, Eli Marrero.
Hit hard enough for the double play. Bobbled by the usually sure-handed Alfonso. Keep in mind, Eli Marrero, a very fast runner. He had 5 stolen bases this year without being caught. Alfonso's only play is to first base, and the Cardinals are on the board.
And now Britt Reams, who handles the bat very well. Strike one. They do lose something in not having Ankiel at the plate, one of the best hitting pitchers in the game today, but at least they get the better matchup with a right-hander against a lefty. There's the silver lining for the Cardinals, and it's 0-2 on Reams. It's now a 1-run game. The Mets getting 2 runs in that long first inning. Ankiel couldn't make it through the first. Walking 3, unleashing 2 wild pitches. RBIs by Zeal and Agbayani. Now all of a sudden it's a 1-run game and a runner at second with 2 out for St. Louis. And ball 1 on Reams. Tying run, Langford out at second base. 2-2. That'll end the second inning. The Cardinals have cut the Met lead in half. A double by Dunston. Base hit Langford, RBI ground out by Marrero. The defense lets down Leiter in the second. 2-1 Mets. New York lead now. Al Leiter not too happy with the defense behind him. In the bottom of the second, it's an earned run, and by the way, the Mets have gone 28 consecutive innings without allowing an earned run before the Cardinals got the run in the bottom of the second. Now Piazza hits it deep down the right field line, but foul. Home run distance, but strike one from Britt Reams. Nobody stronger hitting the ball the opposite way than Mike Piazza.
From line to line, power.
All in 1 the count. Reams has come on to enter in the first inning. Struck out Payton with runners at second and third. Got around an error. Ended the top of the second by striking out Alfonso. He struck out 3. Hasn't allowed a hit. Piazza walked and scored back in the first inning. He leads off the third and takes low for ball 1. 1-2.
A lot of times a pitch will fool a hitter, and he can't pull the trigger. Mike Piazza could not pull the trigger on this first fastball seen by Reams, and that's a strike.
And now Piazza on the next pitch goes deep to right at the wall, leaping Dunston, a home run. From a near strikeout to a home run on the next pitch, and it's 3-1 Mets. Piazza with his first home run of this postseason.
I tell you, in my view, Joe, the Cardinals have every reason to be upset. That 0-2 pitch was a strike, a curveball. Remember the curveball that Fernando Vina was called out on. Here's the home run, flat-footed, to give you an idea of the power of Piazza. Right center field, flat-footed, home run. But the Cards have every reason to believe that they had him on that 0-2 pitch.
And now a ball low to Zeal. Third career postseason home run. His first of this year, and now Zeal gets into one to left center field. The ballpark will hold it as Langford puts it away, 1 out.
Remember last night, John Stearns, the bench coach of the Mets.
We're going to hear this again?
Yep.
He's out of the cage. The monster's out of the cage. The monster is out. The monster is out of the cage. Let's go. The monster's out of the cage.
Monster got a break then, though. That 0-2 pitch was a strike.
1 out, nobody on for Ventura. And strike 1. The numbers for Ventura not pretty in this postseason. One ball, 1 strike. Now 2-1.
Here's that 0-2 pitch that was called the ball on Mike Piazza. First curveball he's been thrown from Reams. Keep in mind, Fernando Vina was called out as the first Cardinal hitter of the game on a ball that he thought was low. That ball, it appeared to me, was higher than the pitch to Vina.
So now the count 3-1. I say you pay for it when you give a good team 4 outs in an inning. Reams paid for it when he just missed with what could have been strike 3. The next pitch is hit out of the park, and Ventura gets one past Vina, and he's on with 1 out here in the 3rd inning.
Can't give a good team 4 outs in an inning. You can't give a great hitter like Piazza 4 strikes. I'm sure that's what the Cardinals are thinking now. Vina diving for the ground ball by Ventura, a base hit. Ball skidding under the glove, it appeared. Oh, just off the webbing.
So now 1 on, 1 out for Agbayani. A home run, a single in the inning, and Agbayani, who drove home a run with an RBI double back in the first, takes ball 1. Big numbers for Benny Agbayani. And now time called over at first base.
Somebody hit that spot last night. Same
As
thing.
Will Clark digs at the dirt and does a little landscaping over in the area where Ventura takes his lead.
Benny Agbayani, we said, was an offensive player. Last night, an error through the wickets. And tonight, no error, but same wickets.
Now the 1-0 to Agbayani, a ball and a strike. These major league hitters in today's game study so much videotape. You can go down there and the Mets clubhouse. They'll have Ankiel's last 5 starts if you want to look at them.
Sure.
Well, they've never seen Britt Reams. He was made some good pitches. Piazza made him pay for a bad pitch, and now Agbayani goes into right center field for Dunston. 2 out. And instead of a night full of at-bats against a hard-throwing left-hander Ankiel, the Mets get a night full of at-bats against a 27-year-old right-hander Britt Reams. Here's Jay Payton. A couple of 27-year-old rookies going head-to-head here. Jay Payton, who for the better part of the last 4 years has been on the operating table. There's that guy again.
Same guy, isn't it?
Same guy, same shirt.
Yep. Same cap.
1 on, 2 out. And a ball low from Reams. Well, Ankiel and Drew. Ankiel is no longer in the game, and Drew wasn't in it to start. Check the lineup card before you come out to the ballpark. That gets away from Marrero, and down to second is Ventura. That'll be a passed ball. That's the definition of one. And the count 2-0 on Payton.
That's why, that's the area where most pass balls come. The reason as the pitcher misses across the plate. Marrero setting up outside, the pitch is inside and off the heel of the glove, actually closing the glove too soon. But usually that shoulder high right to the left of the catcher, that's where your pass balls will come because of the movement. A catcher having to move as far as Marrero did. Couldn't close the mitt, actually closed the mitt too soon.
And now Payton could give the Mets their biggest lead of the night with a base hit. Have to wonder what's running through the mind of Rick Ankiel as he watches Britt Reams work home a 2-0 to Payton. 3-0.
Well, Reams and Marrero having some problems getting on the same page as far as the signals are concerned. Reams has indicated to Eli Marrero, give me another set of signs. When he went through the signs once again, he still got crossed up with that pitch. You saw how awkwardly Marrero fought that ball off just to keep it in front.
And the count's 3-0. Reams and the Cardinals trying to get through the top of the third inning, and that breaking ball is high for a 2-out walk. First walk handed out by Reams in the 2 innings he's pitched.
That was a 3-0 breaking ball. Obviously Tony La Russa and the Cardinals thought that Payton was swinging, and he could have been. He takes it high. Not bad strategy. With Curt Abbott coming up.
Abbott 0 for 1. So far in the postseason, he is 0 for 3. During the regular season, hit only .217. Runners on at first and second, 2 out. The 2-run New York lead here in the third inning. And Reams is starting to lose his control here all of a sudden in the third inning. Piazza leadoff home run. Piazza will tell you, straight-faced even, that his #1 priority going into the game is to worry about the pitching. But you're hearing those words come out of the mouth of one of, if not the greatest hitting catcher in the history of this game. And his numbers after his first 8 seasons in the big leagues are at the top of the list on a list of Hall of Fame catchers.
Staggering. Staggering. After 8 full seasons, a .330 average for Mike Piazza. And it doesn't end there.
2 on, 2 out. The 1-1 is grounded to third. Tatis taps the bag, and the inning is over. Mike Piazza, 277 career home runs. Gets his 3rd in postseason play, his 1st of this year. And after 2.5.
Dugout name that came up when pitchers lose the plate, as Rick Ankiel did. Steve Dalkowski, the left-handed bespectacled Orioles farmhand, who for 3 or 4 years in the 50s had more strikeouts and more walks than innings pitched. He was so fast, so wild. Ted Williams wouldn't bat against him in spring training. He never made the major leagues, and as Tim mentioned about what happened to these guys later on, ultimately Dalkowski became a migrant laborer, a farm worker. Joe?
All right, Keith. First pitch is a ball to Fernando Pena. And we're underway in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Gene Mock said Steve Dalkowski was the hardest thrower he had ever seen. Earl Weaver said he threw harder than Nolan Ryan.
You can invoke the name of another Steve Blass.
Yeah.
You talk about pitchers who lose control on the mound, but it's not a fair comparison. 2 balls, no strikes. Now 2-1 on Pena.
No, because Steve Blass had a lot of success before he turned wild.
One of the better starters in the National League and an All-Star, and was 167 when trouble started for him in 1973. 2 balls and a strike. Pena into right center field. Ball hangs up for Perez, and a slide and a catch. 1 away. Back to the start of the night with Rick Ankiel on the hill. This is tonight. After unleashing 5 wild pitches in the 3rd inning of Game 1 of the division series against Atlanta. See people in the front row, the 2nd row, the 3rd row flinching back there. It wasn't pretty. 3 walks, 2 wild pitches. In case you're wondering, when was the last time a pitcher was KO'd in the postseason this quick? As Renteria fouls strike 1. Al Leiter last year, the man on the mound. The National League Championship Series Game 6 was knocked out in Atlanta without retiring a batter. In what was eventually the Braves' 10-9 win in Game 6. With that 11th inning bases loaded walk handed out by Kenny Rogers. I think right in the during the second hand a game of poker between Ricky Henderson and Bobby Bonilla in the clubhouse. It's another way to give a time reference, put it in a time frame. Just as Bonilla was flipping down an ace of hearts, ball 4 was high and wide. That's strike 2 on Renteria.
Ricky Henderson, who drove in the first run of the American League Championship Series against the Yankees the other night, denied that story.
One ball, 2 strikes on Renteria. 1 out, nobody on, and now 2-2. Somebody was playing cards.
Yeah, the public and the press not sure, and we in the press not sure.
They were not at the Casino Queen.
Not sure whether that denial is right or not.
Renteria, third base side, and through for a 1-out hit. Renteria 2 for 2. All right. Any new business? No new business. Here's old business. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game, they may not be disseminated. Thank you. Without express written consent of Major League Baseball. 1 on, 1 out. Here's Edmonds representing the tying run.
You hear an echo in our mic?
I heard that. You can make a strong case for Edmonds. The MVP award. Most attention has fallen on Barry Bonds in the last month of the season. His teammate Jeff Kent. First half of the season and into August it was Mike Piazza, and then lumped the rest in one big category. But now with the way Bonds finished compared to the way Piazza finished, hitting .227 in September, that is a very close vote, I'm sure. 1 on, 1 out. Edmonds, foul ball, strike 1. Edmonds last night came oh so close for the Cardinals with this into left center off Mike Hampton. Mets were leading 3-0, 2 on at the time, would have tied the game. Mike Hampton was quoted as saying when that ball left the bat and ended up in the glove of Agbayani, he said, "I didn't breathe." 7th inning prior to giving way to John Franco in the 8th. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's that inside fastball that Al Leiter was talking about to keep the left-handers honest. This opens up the outside part of the plate. So after 1 inside, look for it away. We'll see if Edmonds gets it.
Edmonds' home run stroke is the opposite way. It was this season. So he hit a career high 42 on the year. Runner goes, and a foul will bring Renteria back to first. He got another great break, but Edmonds took a hack, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, Renteria's got the read on Al Leiter. He stole second the first time he was on base, and a tremendous jump, but that ball fouled back by Edmonds.
One ball, 2 strikes on Edmonds. Runner at first, 1 out. He gets Edmonds for the 2nd time tonight.
We talked to Al Leiter about that pitch inside. And these are Al's words about why he's been so successful to left-handed hitters this year.
Most left-handed batters, I'm not giving anything away, the left-handed pitcher has to have the ability to throw a fastball in the inner part of the plate, just so that they don't dive out of the plate and look to hit it left center or back right at you. So I've been able to move it enough to let him think in, and then my slider or cutter that I get in on righties has become a true slider to lefties.
Right-hander at the plate here, Tatis, and a check on Renteria over at first.
This is exactly what Al Leiter was talking about. The fastball inside, and look at the swing by a great hitter. From catcher cam.
On the inside corner for strike one. And I don't think either side has a real good feel for what is a strike tonight and what's a ball.
I agree with that. Fernando Vina called out on a low strike. Mike Piazza given new life before the home run on a low pitch.
Renteria, the runner at first, watching Tatis swing and miss as they appeal down to the first base umpire Rapuano. It's 0-2.
But Tatis easily went too far there. Not even close. Biting cutter inside.
The 0-2. A little low from Leiter.
What makes that pitch so effective is that a right-handed hitter picks it up in that hitting area 12 to 15 feet in front of home plate. He thinks it's going to be on the inside part of the plate. And when he commits, the late break darts inside, and it causes a lot of check swings like the one on Tatis.
Leiter paying attention to the runner Renteria at first. Why? He's allowed a lot of stolen bases. Renteria already has one tonight. He's on the run. Throw by Piazza way too late. And Renteria has his second steal of the night.
He had a great jump the first time. Edmonds fouled it back. He was in there standing up for his first stolen base and reading Leiter. Renteria has picked up something foolproof on Al Leiter, and he'll convey that to the rest of the Cardinals.
And Tim, as you well know, if a pitcher does not have a good move to first base, I think he's better served by not throwing over as often. Don't allow that runner to get a really good read on when you're going to first and when you're going home. It's obvious Renteria has seen enough of Al Leiter's move that he got a great jump over there at first base.
Leiter third in the National League this year in stolen bases allowed with 22. Greg Maddux allowed 32. Randy Johnson 26. Top three in the league, or bottom three if you want to look at it that way. 2-2 to Tatis. Inside corner, struck him out. Busting the pitch inside on the hands of Tatis. He's still standing at home. It's a 3-1 Mets lead. After three. Pitchers around the big leagues, on the day that they're going to pitch, even teammates don't talk to them. They just leave them alone. They leave them with their thoughts. They have that game face that they put on. Leiter's only game face that I see is the face that he has during the game. Prior to the game, I mean, he's as loose as the bat boy.
Yeah.
Before the game. Definitely a free spirit. Enjoyable guy to be around from Toms River, New Jersey. Funny. He's a guy who thinks a lot about the art of pitching and about where he fits on this Mets team. 34 years old. He will turn 35 this October 23rd. An interesting date for Al Leiter as he helps explain why he's goofy in a good sense.
October 23rd was the cutoff date for Libra. No, 22nd. The 23rd started Scorpio. Now I open these horoscopes, which I don't believe in anyway, and I look, and I'm Libra. So for 20, 30 years of my life, I was Scorpio. Now I'm a Libra. They could figure me out. That's probably why I'm so wacky.
So he was a Scorpio. And in case you're wondering, the horoscope this week, they do these things by weeks, I guess, or months. You are attractive, dynamic, intelligent. Here's a pop-up left side off the bat of Perez and into the glove of Tatis. Excellent for reading, writing, advertising. Flirtation gets too hot, Virgo involved. That's what he was, a Scorpio. Now a Libra. And this is for September 23rd through October 22nd. He is now a Libra. Rewrite, review, give serious consideration to proposals, career, and marriage. He's already covered those two things. Career is flying, and he's happily married with kids. Someone speaks out of turn saying, enough. So there you go, Al. Take that information and run with it. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That horoscope, incidentally, was written by Sidney Omar. I assume that horoscopes are quite subjective, right?
They would have to be.
Yeah.
Alfonso the opposite way into right. Long run for Dunston. Can he get there? No. And it gets behind him. Alfonso will head for third. Dunston finally gets to it in right, and Alfonso is standing at third with 2 out.
Tino Perez hit the 4th inside the park home run in Philadelphia this year on September 24th. A Scorpio, right? Well, this one by Edgardo Alfonso could have been had Dunston not recovered in time. I think the Mets are thinking, keep going, Edgardo. Before Timo Perez hit that inside the park home run, the last Met to hit one was Edgardo Alfonso in 1995 in Cincinnati. I'll tell you, that half shin guard, they can can those things along with a few other things in baseball.
That's right.
Yeah. Pitchers wearing jackets and those half shin guards.
You don't like pitchers in jackets?
Nope.
How about poodles and sweaters?
Nope.
Ball 3 in the intentional pass to Mike Piazza.
I mean, you could really clearly see that Alfonso, who is not a fast runner, but his gait was messed up going around the bases. I mean, there are going to be times when you have to leg out something.
Second walk, first intentional by Reams. And Zeal will have a chance with runners at the corners, 2 out. Mets leading by 2. They've never led by more. They led 2-0 after a half inning. Cardinals dug into the lead in the bottom of the second on an RBI ground out by Eli Marrero. The Mets got the run back on a leadoff home run by Piazza in the 3rd inning. And now it's Zeal with runners at first and third, 2 out. Zeal a sac fly tonight, and he's flied out to rather deep left. And Marrero saves that pitch, ball 1. Eli's getting a workout back there tonight.
He surely is. Tony La Russa saying he put the best athlete that he has as a catcher. Of course, Carlos Hernandez has a bad lower back. It's another reason that he didn't want him back there with Rick Ankiel. There's Carlos. And Marrero has been dodging from left to right all night.
Low, and it's 2-0. Robin Ventura, who's only batting behind Zeal because a left-hander started, waits on deck. The Mets, their 6th league championship series in their young history. Leading 1-0, leading this game 3-1, 4th inning, and it's 3-0 on Zeal.
Todd Zeal is not a guy normally that would hit 3-0. Matter of fact, he's normally a guy who does not swing at the first pitch. Todd Zeile swung at fewer first pitches than anybody else in the National League. Only 10% went out of every 10 first pitches did he swing at.
Zeile, who came up in this organization, traded away in 1995, the same day the Cardinals fired their manager by the name of Joe Torre. The 3-1 pitch, full count now, 3-2.
Wicked sinker from Reams. Not a strike. And Zeile over the top.
Crowd tries to climb back into it. Runners at first and third, 2 out, and a 3-ball, 2-strike count on Zeile. And we'll do it again.
Edgardo Alfonso tried to create a balk right here, right before Piazza took off. Alfonso with a fake break off the third, making Reams rush his delivery home.
So both runners took off on that 3-2 pitch. Now Piazza goes on ball 4 that stays high and tight on Zeile, and the bases are loaded with 2 out. Third walk now on the record of Britt Reams, and here is Robin Ventura. Ten grand slams in LCS history. The last one, Ricky Leday, the 99 ALCS. Ventura with that grand slam single in game 5 of their LCS action a year ago with Atlanta. Bases loaded. He hit the ball over the wall, but past the runner between first and second. The winning run had already scored, and that was it against McGlinchey. A 4-3 win instead of a 7-3 win. And a bases loaded chance for Ventura here with 2 out. 14 career grand slams for Ventura. Strike 1 on a breaking ball. Rookie right-hander Reams trying to keep the Cardinals in this game. 1 ball, 1 strike.
One of the trademarks of a Bobby Valentine team is with a right-handed pitcher pitching and working from the stretch, the man on third should break and break often.
Strike 2 on Ventura.
Excuse me, Joe, and hope in the process that you break the rhythm and the routine of the right-handed pitcher. The reason for that is he's looking right at the runner on at third base. There's animation. There's activity. A lot more here at Busch Stadium from the fans here, too.
A 1-ball, 2-strike count on Ventura. Bases loaded, 2 out. Mets up 3-1. 4th inning. 2-2. Ankiel started this game and hardly broke a sweat before he was out of there after 2/3 of an inning. And now a meeting on the mound as Renteria comes in and Marrero goes out.
Bob Brenly, it doesn't appear that Reams and Marrero are getting together still.
Well, every time the Mets have had a runner at second base, Reams has had to step off the rubber a couple times, indicate to Marrero to go through the signs once again. Generally, when you see that, if you're a team trying to steal the signs, they'll go to something very simple. The first sign you see is the pitch I want you to throw.
Bases loaded, 2 out, and now a full count on Ventura. Mets lead by 2, and Ventura trying to change that. Hard to watch for these Cardinal fans, already down by a game in this LCS. That's foul. We'll do it again. St. Louis in the bottom of this fourth inning will have Clark, Dunston, and Langford. They'll be trailing by at least 2.
Such a dangerous situation for Reams because he's got to throw the fastball. Hoping Ventura grounds it at someone.
3-2. Hard hit, but right at Vigna. He hit it right at someone. And the Mets strand the bases loaded. They have left 8. Bottom of the fourth. Will Clark will lead it off. Tony La Russa, cheerleader now with his team down by 2. Question: who was the youngest pitcher to start a postseason game? Chew on that for a minute as we play the bottom of the fourth inning, and Will Clark leads it off for St. Louis against Al Leiter. 3-1 Mets. Strike 1 on Clark. Clark, then Dunston, then Langford here in the fourth inning for the Cardinals, down by a couple. Hits are even at 4 apiece. Ball and a strike. Clark fly to left his first time up, trying to get something started. Pretty well hit into left center field. Back is Payton on the dead run. Can't get there. Leadoff double. Will Clark to start the bottom of the fourth.
Will Clark's eyes lighting up on this high fastball. You don't get many cookies like that from Al Leiter. Remember, Will Clark, the only Cardinal left-handed hitter to homer off Al Leiter, and he smoked that one to center.
That'll bring in Dunston, who doubled his first time and scored the only run of the night for St. Louis back in the second. 3-1 Mets, fourth inning. Former Met Sean Dunston drops one down. Tough play Ventura. Good play Ventura. 1 out. And over to third is Clark.
Now Dunston being given a hand. I question this bunt right here. Nice play by Ventura. Obviously Sean bunting for a base hit. But you have Ray Langford up now. And Langford has struck out 148 times on the year. I think if you're Sean Dunston, you take your chances with swinging the bat instead of bunting. Now with 1 out, Langford up there, bottom of the order with Marrero next.
Runner at third, 1 out, and Langford, you talked about the strikeout problems during the regular season. Langford at the plate, needing to put the bat on the ball with a runner at third. Clark, not great speed there. 1 out. Cardinals down by 2, and Langford guides one foul left side.
Interesting guy who just picked up a bat, huh?
McGuire down in the dugout. Langford's at the plate. The number 8 hitter Marrero on deck. Tony La Russa has 3 catchers active for this series. A 1-1. And I say that only because in the right circumstance, Tony La Russa might not wait for Reams' spot to come up. He could send in McGuire to hit for Marrero if he wishes. Timlin getting loose for St. Louis in their bullpen.
The way I see it, Joe, is if Clark is still on at third, if Langford strikes out, no way you send up McGuire. Only if Langford's on at first. If Langford's on at first, then there's no place to put McGuire. Bobby Valentine wouldn't dare walk the potential tying run to second base. So if Langford walks, I think you'll see McGuire. If he makes an out, no McGuire.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Leiter needs a strikeout. He struck out 5. Time called at the plate. Two-2 pitch. Leiter does not get the corner. It's a full count. And by the way, they've given Dunston a sacrifice on that bunt that he dropped down the third baseline. So well played by Ventura. Clark at third. 1 out. 3-2 to Langford. 2 out. And a big strikeout for the left-hander Leiter. Number 6 on the night.
And as we said, this is why the play by Dunston was not a good one.
Here's Marrero. The pitcher's spot on deck. Now if Marrero reaches here, you could still see McGuire. Tony La Russa and the Cardinals ended the game last night with McGuire sitting on the bench, available but unused. Game situations did not dictate that McGuire had a place to hit. But I'll guarantee you, if Tony La Russa sees one spot, no matter what the inning, he will send McGuire to the plate. Runner at third, 2 out. The 0-1 to Marrero. Strike 2. That's Ankiel, with his face buried in his arm, looking out over the top railing, that fence in front of the dugout. Runner at third, 2 out. Marrero set up. Stays alive.
They're trying to think along with Bobby Valentine and Tony La Russa, trying to figure out when to use Mark McGuire. If Marrero somehow walks, gets hit by a pitch, it's first and third. McGuire comes up. If I'm Valentine, I consider walking with 2 outs. I would consider putting the potential tying run on base to face Pena. Instead of giving Big Mac one swing for the chance to put the Cardinals on top.
Right now it's the Mets on top, 3-1. Runner at third, 2 out, bottom of the 4th inning. Marrero tied up and he struck out. 7 strikeouts for Al Leiter. A leadoff double by Will Clark wasted. McGuire still sitting there waiting after 4. 3-1 Mets. Paul Company's trivia question: who was the youngest pitcher to start a postseason game?
I would guess Jim Palmer.
No, but a good try. Brett Saberhagen, Kansas City Royals, 20 years, 180 days old. Game 2 of the ALCS against the Tigers.
Wasn't Jim Palmer 19 when he started against the Dodgers in 1966?
Well, now you're going to have people rifling through record books.
I know Jim was very young. Jim Palmer, if you're listening, call in and let us know, will you?
Call Frank Robinson. He's got a cell phone. We saw that last night. Britt Reams gets another inning because his spot did not come up.
Frank, the Triple Crown winner in 1966. Most valuable player, of course, for the Orioles. Orioles beating the Dodgers that year, winning 4 in a row in Sandy Koufax's last year.
There's one of those local announcers. Jack Buck, Cardinal broadcaster since 1954, and a ground ball into the hole. Renteria with a backhand, low throw but out. Adbayani's gone. They tell me that he doesn't know this, but we're going to listen.
It was 0 for 1 with a walk. Payton gave New York the lift they needed defensively in center field this year, and his hitting has been getting better and better. He ended up with 17 home runs during the season. He has 4 base hits during the postseason. So the young man from Zanesville, Ohio, is feeling more comfortable day by day. 1 out in the 5th. Outfielders are absolutely straight away. Pitch a swing and a foul back here, coming out of play. Back into the right. Cardinal bullpen has seen no action since Reams came on in the first inning. After Ankiel delivered a walk, allowed a sacrifice fly, another walk, and an RBI double. With 2 wild pitches mixed in, it's 3-1 New York, and the pitch coming. Low and away to Payton to even the count, 1-1.
We're cutting into Jack Buck's play-by-play.
Hitting the number 7 spot with Kurt Abbott, the number 8 hitter.
He has no idea that we're doing this.
Leadoff man has been retired for New York here in the 5th. And Reams delivered. He swings and fouls. Payton's now in the hole, 1-2. Off to the right and went. This Cardinal rookie pitcher, Britt Reams, attended the Citadel. He is from South Carolina. Sat out 2 full years with arm problems. And burst on the scene here in very impressive fashion this summer. Started the season in Double-A, went to Triple-A Memphis, then up to the Cardinals. On 1-2, Jay Payton waits and takes the ball in the dirt, 2-2.
Doing his typical radio call. That's Jack Buck, unaware that we are eavesdropping.
Reams picked up the final out in the first inning, so he's pitched 3 2/3. Has retired the leadoff hitter in the 5th.
Mike Shannon will chime in soon.
2-2 count to Payton. From the stretch position. Here it comes, and a swing and a miss on a low breaking ball, and that is the 5th strikeout of the evening for Reams. And there are 2 gone here in the 5th inning. Reams is due to lead it off in the Cardinal 5th inning, so this likely will be his final inning of work.
So there you go.
Oh, that's great.
You worked with him with CBS back in what,
1990 and 91. What an elegant, eloquent man.
76-year-old going strong. This game has certainly kept him young. 2 out, nobody on. Kurt Abbott takes a breaking ball for a strike from Britt Reams.
Well, you knew Jack was going to give Ohio a plug,
right? Of course. Telling the folks that Reams went to the Citadel.
Jay Payton being from Zanesville, Ohio.
Where's he from?
Ohio.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Jay Payton, as you mentioned, from Zanesville, Ohio. Zanesville, the home of the very first Y-shaped bridge over the Muskingum River. Zanesville, only 30 miles from my hometown in Coshocton, Ohio.
Right.
Chamber of Commerce is proud. Do they give tours of that Y-shaped bridge, Bob?
Oh, of course they do. You know, the first tour goes left, the second tour goes right.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Kurt Abbott. 3-1, the Mets lead here in the 5th inning. Breaking ball low, 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, nobody on. Abbott is gone. Bottom of the 5th, halfway through game 2. 3-1 Mets. 1985. Ozzie Smith at the plate. Game 5 against the Dodgers.
Smith torques one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run.
pictures are being brought to you by the Sanyo Lightship, proudly flown by Chief Pilot. As Eric Davis, a pinch hitter, flies one down the right field line and caught by Todd Zeile for the first out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Jose Bernayola is the pilot of the Sanyo Lightship, and Zeile just made a nice play on the dead run down the right field line.
Boy, what a play. The Cardinal fans are used to seeing Jim Edmonds make these plays over the shoulder, and Todd Zeile with a nifty play of his own.
Ruled a foul ball, by the way. There are 2 umpires down that right field line. Ed Rapuano at first, Bruce Fremming down the line itself. And that ball was ruled foul, so had Zeile not made the connection, it would have been a strike on Davis. As it is, 1 out. Pinch hitter is gone, and Fernando Vina takes ball 1 low and away.
Okay, I erred when thinking Jim Palmer was the youngest to pitch in postseason to start. Jim Palmer was 9 days away from his 21st birthday when he started against the Dodgers and Sandy Koufax in 1966. Just wanted to clear that up.
So he called in.
He called in, yes.
A 1-1 to Vina, drops down a bunt. Leiter trying to make the play, cannot. Base hit. Vina's on with 1 out in the 5th.
Fernando Vina taking advantage of Al Leiter slow getting off the mound. Al barehanded the ball, tried to get Fernando at first. No sense in using the glove here. That was not a particularly good bunt, but it doesn't have to be as good a bunt with Leiter on the mound.
Now Vina's hit in all 5 postseason games this year for the Cardinals, his first year as a Cardinal. St. Louis traded for and got Vina from the Milwaukee Brewers. Here's Renteria, 1 on 1 out. Edgar so far tonight 2 for 2. Ball 1.
See if Fernando Vina at first base gets as good a read as Renteria has gotten off Al Leiter. Renteria with 2 stolen bases. Vina had 10 during the year.
Two 2-0.
Todd Zeile is in effect blocking Vina from seeing Leiter. You mentioned earlier that's one of the reasons that Bobby Valentine has the first baseman play off, to try to block the base runner's view of the pitcher.
Tanking, but it's a strike, and it's 2-1. Renteria pulled the bat back after showing bunt. I believe the bat struck Piazza. Right into the glove with a ball.
Yeah. That is not interference, by the way. The bat is coming back, and it was a bunt attempt. If, however, the bat's going forward and hits the glove, it's interference, and the batter is awarded first base. Error on the catcher.
'80th pitch of the night coming from Al Leiter. 2 balls and a strike on Renteria. Instead of the 80th pitch, it's the 80th throw over to first base.
It's like baseball's version of peekaboo at first, right? Then you're trying to get around Zeile. Renteria got around Zeile and stole second twice. You could see Vina trying to look over Zeile now.
3-1 on Renteria.
Earlier this year in a game against the Arizona Diamondbacks, Jay Bell, the Diamondbacks second baseman, in a very similar situation, positioned himself between Todd Zeile and first base. I guess what's fair for one is fair for the other. Jay Bell put himself in a position where Zeile could not break back to the bag at first.
3-1 on Renteria, and another throw over.
That's one way to cope with that play, Bob.
bunt single by Vina. A 3-ball 1-strike count on Renteria. 1 out in the inning. That's foul. Zeal another chance, but he can't get there. And it's a full count.
You will see Vina in motion now. 3-2, 1 out. Big Mac awaits his turn.
Britt Reams has had his 4 1/3 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 3 walks, one of them an intentional walk, 6 strikeouts. Hard hit, fair, past third. Vina will cruise around third and come all the way to the plate. RBI double, 3-2 Mets here in the 5th.
Vina running on the play. Renteria has not only solved the problem of Al Leiter on the bases, but at the bat, his 3rd hit. Renteria doubling with Vina running. Scoring easily.
Well, the Cardinals really caught a break when that ground ball did not hit off that billboard down the left field line. It got around that area that juts out, got all the way into the corner, and that assured Vina the run at the plate. And it's a 3-2 Mets lead. Runner at second, 1 out, and Jim Edmonds at the plate, 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Ball 1.
The Mets scoring 2 runs in the top of the 1st in both games. Took the crowd out early. They're back in it now in a big way.
Renteria stealing third, throw down too late, and the tying run 90 feet away with 1 out. 3 hits, 3 steals for Edgar Renteria.
What a game he's already played, and we're only halfway through regulation. No chance for Piazza. What the Mets will do is they'll bring the infield in late. They're in regulation right now, but they come up with the pitch.
Edmonds, a fly ball to right. Perez coming in. And Renteria has to hold at third, 2 out, and a missed chance for Jim Edmonds. They throw behind Renteria over third, and he's back safely there with 2 out. A silencer pop-up off the bat of Jim Edmonds puts it in the lap of Fernando Tatis.
Jim Edmonds with yet another chance tonight. He has had Renteria in scoring position in every at-bat, and he fails for the 3rd time. A man who has succeeded in vying for the MVP and winning the hearts of the people here in St. Louis.
Perez at the end of the play Waited until Renteria turned his back and then fired into third, and he was almost, he being Renteria, out. He's at third, 2 away. Tatis, 1 ball, 1 strike on that big swing by Tatis.
A nice attempt by Timo Perez to throw behind the runner. However, nobody backing up that play. You have to make very sure you make a good throw to third base attempting to throw behind the runner. Otherwise, the run will walk home.
Baseball has seen Omar Vizquel score on a steal of home when a pitcher was in the stretch, a left-handed pitcher this year.
Renteria dancing around at third base there with 2 out. Leiter trying to hang on to a lead. 3-2 Mets in the 5th. And a 1 ball, 2 strike count on Tatis. Edgar Renteria has tied a National League Championship Series record with 3 stolen bases in this game. Morgan, Griffey Sr., Sachs, Ron Gant. Ricky Henderson has the LCS record with 4 in '89 for Tony La Russa. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Tatis. Ineffective down the stretch in the month of September for Tony La Russa, who put Tatis on the bench, making his first start of this postseason here tonight. And breaking his bat, popping one up down the left field line. And out of play.
What normally happens when a right-handed batter tries to get the bat head out, usually yank it foul.
Up to 90 pitches on the night for Leiter. The game in the 5th inning. Tying run at third, 2 out. Tatis, base hit, tie game. Into the left field corner, and Tatis has an RBI double. 3-3 in the 5th.
The bunt by Vigna, the double by Renteria, and now the double by Tatis. Tatis ready for that cutter inside. Found a fair hole.
Cardinals have tied this game. This crowd has been resuscitated. And after that wretched first inning by Rick Ankiel, fellow rookie Britt Reams came in to hold the Mets for the most part over 4 1/3 innings. Now it's a 3-3 game in the 5th. Go ahead run at second with 2 out, and it's Will Clark who's doubled tonight. Nice save by Piazza, ball 1. Will Clark, in his career in LCS play is 24 out of 50. '87, '89, and now the year 2000. And he lifts one into left, should end the inning. Agbayani puts it away. The Cardinals come up with 2 runs in the 5th inning. Tatis has been struggling. He's been working with Mike Easler. Easler cheering his pupil here in the 5th.
That's the man. That's the Tatis we know. That's him. Yeah.
6th inning, game 2, tied at 3. Craig Paquette is in the game at third base. Tatis, who just tied the game with an RBI double, is gone. He's on the bench, and on the mound is Matt Morris, the hard-throwing right-hander, coming back from that ligament transfer surgery, the Tommy John surgery he missed all of last year. Congratulations, Fernando Tatis. You just tied the game. Now have a seat next to me.
And those who may not be familiar with the double switch, there were 2 players that entered into the game. And Paquette will bat 9th, and Matt Morris will bat 4th. The reason that managers do that is so they can get longer innings and a longer stint out of their reliever.
Right now is Morris, and who so far has overmatched Leiter. It's 0-2. Al Leiter at the plate. And Timo Perez, then Edgardo Alfonso for the Mets here in the 6th inning in a 3-3 game. The Cardinals desperately trying to get a win here tonight. They face an 0-2 deficit heading up to Shea for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday action. Monday if necessary. 2-2 from Morris.
Boy, Marrero has had a nightmare of a game back there. That ball just ate him up. A fastball he expected. Looked like he hurt himself in the process. Normally a routine play.
Leiter is gone, 1 away. Well, the upcoming games in this championship series, the Yankees at the Mariners tomorrow night on NBC at 8 Eastern. That series tied at a game apiece. Game 3 in Seattle. And game 3 on Saturday afternoon at 4 Eastern here on Fox. The Cardinals at the Mets at Shea Stadium. And right now, as you know, the Mets are up 1-0.
On the 2nd pitch, Marrero, sitting outside, had to come back. The ball hit him in the inside of the thumb. Some of those things don't even heal over the winter. Taking the glove off, and that thumb really bothering him right now. It could affect his swing.
Perez takes a strike. Marrero due up 3rd in the bottom of the 6th inning, and Wilkins seeing that as well. He's getting ready. 0-2.
You're absolutely right, Tim. After catching that pitch on the thumb, Eli Marrero caught strike 3, threw it around the horn, walked out in the middle of the infield, took off his catcher's mitt, was trying to rub that left thumb, get some feeling back in there. He may feel that for a number of years.
The 0-2 to Perez. 2 out. Back-to-back strikeouts and a good start from Matt Morris.
Here it is one more time as Marrero. That pounding continues, or you can see him grimacing underneath the mask, and that's what Bob was talking about. This was after the strikeout to Al Leiter. What you're trying to do is just pull that thumb and straighten it out.
Got a guy throwing seeds on the mound at him as well. 90+ with every pitch. Strike 1 to Edgardo Alfonso, trying to get it going for the Mets. Now he has to dig one out of the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Not only is Morris throwing hard, but he's like Leiter in that he throws heavy. Hard and heavy is a bad combination for a guy who has to swing the bat. I would not be surprised to see Tony La Russa pinch hit or Eli Marrero.
The 1-1 down and in. So he's got his regular catcher out for the rest of the year with that knife wound. His ring finger on his right hand. He's got Carlos Hernandez with a bad back and Eli Marrero with a bad thumb. See him cradling these pitches as they come to the plate. And they count 3 balls and a strike, trying to, any way possible, lighten the pain as he receives the ball from Morris.
That's exactly what he's doing. If it's his right thumb, he has trouble throwing. As a right-handed batter, his left thumb, he has a tough time swinging the bat.
Full count on Alfonso with Piazza next. A 2-out walk keeps this 6th inning alive for New York and brings Piazza to the plate.
So you want to be a catcher, huh? Here's what Mike Piazza's gone through this year.
May 31st, the follow through from Sheffield, and then beamed on July 9th, the front of the helmet by Roger Clemens. Just prior to the All-Star break, Piazza took a while getting the cobwebs out, missed the All-Star action, then really came back in the second half of the season, finished the second half very poorly with that month of September when he hit .227, but prior to that, red hot in August. Really carried this Mets team. Mets finishing with 94 wins. Cardinals and the Braves with 95. There's Marrero again in obvious pain catching ball 1. I've got a catcher to my right and an ex-catcher down in front of me right behind home plate and Bob Brenly. They're wincing with every stab by Marrero. Piazza 5 out of 10 lifetime against Morris. 1 ball, 1 strike. No home runs, 3 RBIs. Our next Seton Hall Pirate, Matt Morris. And on the hands of Piazza, 1-2.
Matt telling us a couple of days ago, Joe, that he only has 35 ticket requests when he returns home from Middletown, New York. Some family, most friends.
That'll be an expensive middle part to this NLCS for Matt Morris. Crowd to its feet. Piazza at the plate. Go ahead run at first. 2 out. 2-2 the count. Morris out of the bullpen this year. Plan is for him to go back into the rotation next year. Two. Into center field. Edmonds there. Bottom of the 6th inning. Dunston will lead it off. Game. Well, my guy here to my right, Tim McCarver, was wincing as Eli Marrero was catching those pitches from Matt Morris. You caught for what, 20+ years in the big leagues?
Yeah, and that guy who was in here a couple innings ago, Bob Gibson, he did that to me. It's a little dog leg left that I carry around with me.
It looks like Marrero. It looks like Marrero will be able to continue. Bob Brenly, do your fingers do anything grotesque?
Well, my thumb used to bend that direction from an old basketball injury, but I got hit by a sinker on the thumb and it straightened it out. Actually, it looks pretty normal now.
Therapeutic.
Here was the play with Eli Marrero crossing over. And as Bob said, and he wasn't kidding. That could take a couple of years to heal.
1 ball, no strikes on Dunston. Bottom of the 6th inning, and that's hammered foul. Cardinals have out-hit the Mets tonight, 8-4. That brings up a couple of things. Cardinals have had their chances to didn't score runs tonight. Tatis drove in the last with a 2-out RBI double. It also points out and reminds us of the good job that Britt Reams did here tonight, taking over in the first inning for Rick Ankiel. A 1-1 into left center field. Well hit. Payton there with a leap and a catch. One away.
Boy, that ball was scalded to left center. Bobby Valentine calls Jay Payton one of the best outfielders in the National League. And when you think about all the time that he's missed.
Here's some of the catches that he's made this season. That one out in San Francisco. The leaping catch over the wall. This one in Montreal. There's no mistaking Montreal, by the way, when you see highlights from Montreal. Other ballparks, maybe. Here's Langford to strike over the outside corner. The story with Payton, though, he's had elbow surgeries. He's had all sorts of arm trouble. And when he couldn't throw the ball in the minor leagues and as he was rehabbing, the one thing he did do was track balls in the outfield. Stand out there during batting practice and go get one ball after another. So he could not throw. And by the way, he's got a very good throwing arm now, rehabbing that elbow. He's had 3 different procedures on the right elbow. But he learned a lot about going to get the ball in the gap, going back on a ball over his head. And that's why he is as good as he is in center field. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Langford. 2-2. Eli Marrero is in the on-deck circle. Bad thumb at all. A 2-ball, 2-strike count on Langford. Langford strikes out again. Eli Marrero walks in. He had these words of advice from his hitting coach, Mike Easler, prior to the at-bat.
He'll give you a pitch to hit. If you're patient, he'll give you a pitch to hit. Just don't miss it. You're staying back good. You see how you lay off that curve on the dirt? The one you took, I forgot 1-2 pitch or something. When you stay on that back leg, you can stay back and see the ball longer. Boom.
Showing bunt, he offered at it. Strike 1.
That's not a good play either. And the reason he may be bunting is because his thumb's killing him. The left thumb is the one that's bothering him. 2 out, nobody on. You try for the extra base hit, generally speaking, even though the pitcher is not up next.
Leiter doesn't get that pitch. Good delivery. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That left thumb is the thumb over which Marrero rolls that hand, and any kind of hard swing right here is painful.
And a pop-up. Shallow center. Payton coming in. Abbott going out. Abbott makes the catch. Marrero still has enough feeling in that thumb to throw the bat after that pop-up. And after 6, tied at 3. Back after this from your local Fox Sunday doubleheader, beginning with Terry, Howie, JB, and Chris on America's favorite pregame show. Jamal Anderson and the Falcons take on division rival Marshall Faulk and the Rams right here in St. Louis. Then Charlie Garner and the 49ers battle Brett Favre and the Packers, or other regional action. It all starts right here on Fox at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. That is on Sunday as Zeal leads it off and takes ball 1 up and in from Matt Morris. 3-3 game, 7th inning. Zeal, Ventura, Agbayani coming up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Zeal hits it well into left field. Langford, it's over his head. 1 hop up against the wall, and Zeal's got a leadoff double here in the 7th inning.
We were talking last night about how Todd Zeal looks for that ball inside. He had a home run off of that pitch, a similar pitch last night, and now doubles to open up the 7th inning. Inside part, you can see how he opens up. That ball was scorched to left field.
Tony La Russa tracking it like Langford was out in left field. As that ball shot over the head of Langford. Zeal has a double, and Robin Ventura stands in with a chance to put the Mets back on top.
Interesting situation. Ventura did not have a good year. He's an excellent bunter late innings.
Strike one.
Robin will lay down a bunt for a base hit occasionally. Did not appear to be bunting on that first hit. Of course, two right-handed hitters coming up.
A walk, a single, and a ground out tonight for Ventura, facing Morris for the first time. One after one, up and out of the strike zone, 0-2. Ventura with the bases loaded his last time up against Reams in the fourth.
3-2 pitch hit right on the button, but Vina was there.
Now it's 0-2 as Ventura, at the very least, wants to advance the lead run over to third.
Yeah, he'd take that last at bat right now.
Pop up left side, and that'll get out of play.
Usually a hitting instructor or a manager, as Benny Agbayani waits on deck, they will, particularly a left-handed hitter, they'll have him try to pull the ball up to 2 strikes. But right now it's very difficult with 2 strikes on Robin to pull the ball. There's Tom Robson, the hitting instructor of the Mets. Kind of go away from that principle with 2 strikes.
The 0-2 to Ventura. And there is the ground ball to second. Zeal over to third, 1 out as Vina completes the play. So a runner at third with 1 away here in the 7th inning, and we take a look at the SAP game summary. 10 o'clock Central Time, 11 o'clock back east. We're in the 7th. Mets have a chance to regain the lead. They got the lead in the first inning when Rick Ankiel walked 3, unleashed 2 wild pitches. RBI double by Benny Agbayani, a Todd Zeal sac fly. Britt Reams came on to finish off the top of the first. Pitched 4 1/3 strong innings, except the Piazza home run in the 3rd inning. And then the Cardinals went to work. Edgar Renteria, 3 hits, 3 stolen bases in this game. He scored the tying run in the bottom of the 5th on a 2-out RBI double by Fernando Tatis. And now with a runner at third, 1 out, Dave Duncan trots out to talk to Morris with Agbayani, the scheduled hitter for the Mets.
Todd Zeal on at third base. This is strategy between a pitcher and a catcher. Dave Duncan, a former major league catcher, is the pitching coach of the Cardinals. And when a pitching coach goes out there and looks at the catcher and the pitcher, they're talking about how best to get a ground ball from a particular hitter in this situation. A fly ball deep enough scores the run.
Cardinals want the infield in. Runner at third, 1 out, ball 1 up and in. A leadoff double by Zeal went to third, and the ground out by Ventura. Good hitting by Robin with an 0-2 count. A 1-0 to Agbayani. Tied him up, 1 ball, 1 strike. Zeal with 1 away over at third. A 1-1 to Agbayani. Hard hit right at Renteria. Zeal holds, 2 out.
Morris got the ground ball, and that's why Tony La Russa played the infield in. If the infield's back, Zeal goes on contact. Ball hit very hard. A good play by Renteria. Morris gets his ground ball at an infielder.
Renteria's had some kind of night.
Boy.
He may fly the team up to New York after the game.
He has played some ball game.
Jay Payton, who has already been a postseason hero for the Mets, at the plate with a go-ahead run at third, 2 out. Tie game, top of the 7th, dealing with Matt Morris. And a pop-up. Leadoff double by the Mets. Wasted. Time to stretch in St. Louis. The fans just got a head start on it. Bottom of the 7th, Cardinals bat tied at 3. Overhead with its eye in the sky camera to bring you these beautiful shots from 1,000 feet above the stadium. Another nice night, but the weather has been absolutely ideal here in St. Louis and across the Midwest during this past week. Here's Paquette, first at bat of the night, took over in the double switch when the Cardinals brought in Morris in the 6th inning. And Leiter, who has had a long 6 innings, goes back to work in the 7th. 3-3 game. Up over 100 pitches already for Leiter. Paquette chased one out of the zone, 0-2.
Robin Ventura in late innings, as you see Vina on deck. Robin Ventura not on the line, but he's not off the line either. It's a moderate way of guarding the line. And you have to do that with a right-handed batter up because of Leiter's cutter inside. If the right-hander puts it in play, more often than not, it's going to be down the left field line. Tatis and Renteria showed that their last times up.
1-2 on Paquette, who last year was with the Mets. He came to St. Louis when the Cardinals traded Dunston to New York. Now the Cardinals have both Dunston and Paquette in this game, taking on the Mets as Turk Wendell gets loose for New York out in their bullpen. 1-2 pitch, got him. Strikeout number 9 for Al Leiter.
All out of the strike zone, but Al Leiter, you can see with that cut fastball tying up the right-hander Paquette. You may not know what the cut fastball is, but a pitcher puts the pressure on the middle finger and he actually cuts through the ball. The ball reacts like a slider. It just kind of slides, and the later the break, the more effective. Leiter with one of the better ones around.
Vina, strike 1. Why is McGuire stirring in the dugout? The pitcher's spot is, remember, in the number 4 position now in the lineup for Tony La Russa. Vina is the leadoff man in this lineup at the plate. 1 out, nobody on. And that's off the end of the bat. Easy for Perez out in right. 2 out. And now so far the player of the game, at least on the St. Louis side, Edgar Renteria walks in. Set a Cardinal record this season for most home runs hit by a shortstop. 16 home runs, a career high for Edgar, who's also been with the Marlins. Now Ventura closer to the line over at third base as Renteria bats with 2 out, nobody on, and takes ball 1.
You're right, Joe. Robin was moved there by the bench. Cookie Rojas moving the infielders around, and that's the proper play, particularly with 2 out in a tie game. No doubles down the line.
Took a strike, 1 ball, 1 strike. Edmonds next. McGuire still waiting. Strike 2 on Renteria. For the Mets in the 8th inning, it'll be Abbott, the scheduled hitter, to lead it off, the number 8 man. Then Leiter's spot, and then Perez. So this might be the last inning for Al Leiter. Probably is the last inning for Al Leiter.
Yep.
Up over 100 pitches. Not that that's a big factor because he's usually over 100 pitches. Renteria hits it well into right. Back is Perez into the corner, and he makes the catch to end the inning. Snyder's saying to himself, how did he catch that? Into the corner as Renteria made a bid for his 4th hit of the night. Perez a long way to go. He got there, made the catch, and then hit that padding, separating the fans and the field. The defense helps Leiter here in the 7th. 8th inning now, tied at 3. Dave Wallace is pitching coach. We'll have one Franco here and one in the bottom of the 8th. Matt Franco is batting for Kurt Abbott. Cardinals will stick with Morris, who misses up and away ball 1. The Cardinals' only left-hander, Christensen, is ready in the St. Louis bullpen. He's joined now by their closer, Dave Veers, as Franco unloads a ball and a strike. It'll be Franco here, then Darrell Hamilton, then Timo Perez. And it's interesting that Veers is the one getting loose. 8th inning, 3-3 game, strike 2 on Franco. Whoever comes out of the bullpen for the Mets in the bottom of the 8th will deal with, in all likelihood, Edmonds, McGuire, and Clark. So this game may be won or lost here in the 8th inning as Franco takes ball 2, 2-2.
Joe, the only caveat there is if Bobby Valentine has a place to put Mark McGuire. For instance, if Edmonds leads off with a double, then McGuire's going to be wasted and they end up walking him. So Tony La Russa would send up someone who could bunt, I would imagine, in a situation like that. But if first base is occupied or there's nobody on, McGuire hits.
But that is way down the line as the count's 3-2 on Franco, batting in the top of the 8th, trying to get it started for the Mets.
The Mets have 3 left-handed pinch hitters: Matt Franco, Darrell Hamilton, and Lenny Harris.
3-2 to Franco. Up the middle, Vina with a backhand. He's got a good arm. 1 out.
He shows the good arm here. This ball may have been touched by Matt Morris. Watch how Vina plants and guns out Franco. Nice play.
So with 1 out, Darrell Hamilton will bat. He'll be followed by Perez, so a couple of left-handed batters, and the Cardinals stick with Morris. 1 out, nobody on. Hamilton, strike 1.
Darrell Hamilton with 2 key pinch hits in the divisional series. Timo Perez on deck.
1 ball, 1 strike. Hamilton with a 1-1 count. Now up on the count, 2 balls and a strike.
You may remember, and Mets fans certainly do, Darrell Hamilton led off that 10th inning in game 2 with the pinch hit double to score on a Jay Payton single. Mets won it 5-4 over the Giants.
Pops it up here. Langford coming on, Renteria going out. The 2 come together and Langford makes the catch. Renteria trying to do a little too much here in the 8th inning. Helped to his feet by Langford, who helped the Cardinals out of a dangerous situation.
Renteria with that hand up, and usually if the infielder puts the hand up, it means I've got it. Not a lot you can hear there. Renteria ducking out of the way at the last minute. You can hear Ray Langford just at the last minute reaching over the head of Renteria.
I'm having a big one. I'm coming, Elizabeth. Line drive into left, and there's Perez. He's on again. Now Edgardo Alfonzo. We came on the air talking about Edgardo Alfonzo and a decision for Tony La Russa. Does he go get his fresh closer Dave Veers, or does he stick with Matt Morris to deal with a right-handed hitting second baseman?
Well, the one thing, another thing to consider here, as Dave Duncan comes out, I think he wants to talk about Perez. I don't think they're going to make a move here. I don't think. But to remind him that Perez is a fast runner and Alfonso is an excellent two-strike hitter. Now, what that means is that he could take a pitch or two, give Perez a chance to steal second base. And if he's thrown out, Alfonso's leading off the 9th inning. Alfonso's very good at doing that.
And he's very good from the 7th inning on. Toast to the town. He's starting to get the headlines that he's the best Major League Baseball player in New York, and that's taking into consideration his teammate Piazza, Bernie Williams, Derek Jeter. During the regular season with runners on, he hit .346. From the 7th inning on, .377. This postseason, he's driven in a run in 4 straight games. He hasn't done so here tonight. And he's 3 for 7 with runners in scoring position.
Edgardo Alfonso this season 6 for 11, a .545 batting average against the Cardinal pitcher on the mound, Matt Morris. 111, 1 for 9 against Dave Veers, the relief pitcher in the bullpen. Perhaps Veers is not quite ready to come into this game right now.
Morris 2-0. On deck is Piazza. We talked earlier that no manager is any more into the numbers and head-to-head matchups than Tony La Russa. He is well aware of what Bob Brenly just told our viewing and listening audience. But they stick with Morris. That's foul.
And Paquette on the line at third base. Particularly playing the count. Renteria in the hole. There's Craig Paquette. Trying to make 2 hits beat the Cardinals instead of 1. And those are the myriad numbers that Joe was talking about.
The hitting charts that Dave Duncan does and has done as pitching coach for Tony La Russa since 1986. Two balls and a strike on Alfonso. Go ahead run at first, 2 out. And now a 2-2 count, and Perez has not taken off.
Well, the Cardinals playing a left side of the infield shift, as Tim mentioned. Paquette playing close to the line at third, and Edgar Renteria way over into the hole.
Trying to push everything to the middle of the field.
I think that's what Alfonso's going to do. And if I were Renteria, I'd be 3 or 4 steps to the left now. Particularly with 2 strikes. He's more apt to go up the middle and the right field.
2-2. Full count. And now Perez will get a jump over at first. He's the go-ahead run. 8th inning, 3-3 game, and Piazza on deck.
I like what Clark's doing here. Will is holding Perez on instead of normally playing behind the runner with 3-2, 2 outs. They do not want Perez to have a chance to score on a double.
3-2 on Alfonso. And a base hit into right center field. That might score Perez. Edmonds comes up throwing. Here comes Timo to the plate. Safe, and the Mets take a 4-3 8th inning lead. And Edgardo Alfonso delivers again. A 3-2 count made all the difference. The head start got Timo Perez to the plate.
First breaking ball of the sequence. Jim Edmonds going all the way, the throw up the line, and Perez scores. But you're exactly right. Will Clark holding him on. Perez running hard all the way, knowing he had a chance, slipping around second base, being waved home by Cookie Rojas. Alfonso strikes again. Man.
Coaching from the dugout and watching every step, part of Timo Perez. He scores the go-ahead run. Now an intentional pass being handed to Piazza, and the inning will fall on Zeal. with 2 on and 2 out. The Cardinal team plane is due into New York in the early hours Friday morning. Tony La Russa eventually lays his head on his pillow. He will think about not lifting Morris for Veers with Alfonso at the plate, considering the history that Alfonso has with Morris and the lack of success he's had in his history with Dave Veers.
And with that base hit and RBI, Edgardo Alfonso now with an 8-game postseason hitting streak and 5 consecutive postseason games with at least 1 RBI. Is it any wonder he's the toast of the Big Apple?
He has struck again, and a double switch coming here in the top of the 8th inning. Carlos Hernandez will enter and catch. Veers will come on and pitch, and the Mets have regained the lead. We're in the 8th.
Bases to put the Mets ahead here in the 8th inning, but that's not the longest trip he's ever taken. His career.
Last 2 seasons starting in Japan, back to the Dominican, Port St. Lucie when he was signed to a minor league contract by the Mets, to Norfolk where he hit .357, and he has made a grand entrance on Broadway the last month of the season and now here in the postseason.
And this might be the most important trip of his life right here. 3-2 the count, 2 outs off of the pitch. That puts the Mets on top 4-3.
And now with 2 on 2 out, Dave Veers pitching to Zeal, and strike 1. This Mets team lacked speed prior to Perez's arrival. He has changed that dynamic with his team. Saw Carlos Hernandez in to catch, and the numbers during the regular season for Veers, a .285 ERA. Zeal gets 1 off the end of the bat, 0-2. Veers was 29 out of 36 in save chances. Not that this is one. That's the kind of success he had out of the bullpen this season for St. Louis.
Joe, one thing should be brought up. In a 3-3 ball game in the 8th inning, the outfield's going to be playing a prevent defense, no doubles. And by playing too deep, the Cardinals may have given a double to Edgardo Alfonso and allowed Perez to score.
Zeal lines 1 into left field. Here comes Alfonso. Throw by Langford, cut off, and they have Piazza hung up between 2nd and 3rd. Vini applies the tag, and as the top of the 8th inning is finished, it's a 5-3 Mets lead. Todd Zeal is now 5 out of 12 in his career against Dave Veers. 2 homers, 7 RBIs. Alfonso put the Mets on top. Zeal adds to it. 5-3 New York. Bottom. Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. Right now a 5-3 lead. Here's Alfonso scoring on the hit by Zeal, and Piazza hung up between 2nd and 3rd.
And an excellent play by Piazza. When you're running the bases, you don't know whether the throw is online or not. The Mets are in a situation where they would gladly exchange an out for a run. So Piazza, by trying to go to 3rd, made Paquette cut the ball off. Piazza's out, but Alfonso scores a very important 6th run of the game. Make that the 5th run of the game. But it gives the Mets a 2-run lead as Bordick is now the shortstop.
Matt Franco stays in the game, so he's in the number 8 spot playing first base. The other Franco on this team, John Franco, is on the mound. Mentioned last night from Brooklyn. 5-4 record during the regular season. 4 saves. Franco will work to Edmonds. Carlos Hernandez and Will Clark here in the 8th inning. The Mets up by 2. Ball 1 from Franco.
Well, Joe, Carlos Hernandez is on deck now, but if Jim Edmonds gets on, I think everybody here in St. Louis knows he'll be the pinch hitter against Franco, because no right-handers warming for the Mets.
1 ball, 1 strike on Edmonds. The Cardinals 6 outs offensively away from heading to New York in a 2-0 hole in this National League Championship Series. Armando Benitez with a sweatshirt on and sitting and watching in the Mets bullpen. John Franco, who wears that orange t-shirt under his uniform top to honor his father. It says Department of Sanitation on it. Father, 19 years, worked in the Department of Sanitation up in New York. Never got a chance to see his son achieve this sort of success. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Edmonds. So far, 2 out of 8 in this NLCS. A 1-2. 2-2.
You know, the reason we showed Turk Wendell out in the Mets bullpen, Mark McGwire is 0 for 8 with 6 strikeouts against Wendell. With that in mind, why isn't Wendell up? I don't understand that.
Well, McGwire's 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts against Franco.
No.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Edmonds a ground ball to first. Matt Franco on the other end of it, 1 out. And Edmonds hitless tonight. So again, as it was last night, many people asked the question after the game, how could the game go along? McGwire remained on the bench the entire night. The game situations dictated that McGwire not bat. Different times, men on. Renteria coming up, Edmonds coming up, Clark. Tony La Russa not wanting to take their bat out of the lineup. It would be hard to believe, though, that this game would pass. We're only in the 8th inning. It would be hard to believe that this game would come and go and McGwire would sit over on that bench, or as he is now, stand over in the dugout and not appear. A weak swing by Carlos Hernandez, a ball and a strike.
That's that funky changeup of John Franco. Franco actually can be more effective against right-handed batters because of that changeup. He rarely throws it against left-handers.
2 balls and a strike. Will Clark next. Then Dunstan's spot, and you start to get back into an area in the lineup where you can see McGwire in the right circumstance. 5-3 Mets, 8th inning. Trying to win the first 2 games of this NLCS on the road. Two-1 to Hernandez. Not close. 3 balls and a strike. To Carlos Hernandez is up for ball 4. They have to appeal. Rapuano says he held up a 1-out walk. And Will Clark steps to the plate.
And Hernandez clearly held up. Well, certainly you would not even consider McGwire pinch hitting for Will Clark, but you might consider him pinch hitting for Sean Dunston.
Turk Wendell getting loose again for the Mets out in their bullpen. With an eye on Dunston on deck and McGwire in the dugout. Right now, 1 on, 1 out for Will Clark. Line drive fair toward the right field corner. Hernandez will go to third. Oquendo will hold him there. Perez does a great job of getting that ball back into the infield and keeping Clark at first with a well-placed single. Now a chance to see McGuire.
Broken bat base hit. What a play by Perez, as you said, Joe, to hold Will Clark to a single. Second consecutive inning, Perez has made a good defensive play.
We understand Mark McGuire is not in that spot where we've been finding him. He's up in the tunnel. Stretching, doing whatever it is he's doing. But here is Dunston, who is 6 out of 20 in his career against Franco. Again, the head-to-head matchups, the head-to-head numbers. It's Dunston up now with Langford on deck. Another spot where we could see McGuire. First and third, one out. That gets away, will score a run. Hernandez safe, and it's a 5-4 game. And into scoring position, the tying run, Will Clark.
That was that changeup getting away from Mike Piazza. You can see Piazza giving up a wild pitch in last night's ball game on a similar pitch. Ball hitting the heel of the glove. That is not textbook by Mike Piazza on how to block a ball in the dirt.
Dunston now with a chance to tie the game with a hit. The slow-footed Will Clark, the tying run at second, one out. 5-4 Mets here in the 8th, and now the RBI by Zeal. The top of this 8th inning is the difference. Another one in the dirt. This one saved by Piazza, 2-0.
If Dunston walks, I think you're going to see McGuire and Wendell.
And you say it that way because if Dunston makes it out here and first base is left open, it would be rather inviting for the Mets to intentionally walk McGuire.
Sure.
If he's sent to the plate as the pinch hitter. But right now it's Dunston with a count of 2-0. Tying run at second, one out, 8th inning, 5-4 Mets. 2-1, and Dunston was taken. Inside corner, 2-2.
John taking 2 fastballs that he normally handles. This ball on the inside part, as was the 2-0 pitch.
Two balls, 2 strikes. It was 2-0. Tying run at second, one out, 8th inning of game 2. And Dunston stays alive, and that foul tip caught a piece of Piazza.
That ball down and in. Looked like it was off the right forearm of Piazza.
Well, another wild pitch is not out of the question. John Franco only throws strikes when he has to. When he gets to a 2-strike count, he'll try to lure that hitter out of the strike zone.
Jammed, a roller to Ventura. He's automatic, 2 out. Dunston grounds out 5-3. Here's a pinch hitter, but not the one these fans expect. And to me, this is an intriguing and wise choice by La Russa. He knows better than anybody if McGuire is sent to the plate. He's inviting the Mets to walk Mark. As it is, it'll be Polanco here in the 8th inning with the tying run at second, 2 out. Facing Franco, and in a way, this volley puts the decision back over in the other dugout. Do you make the pitching change, bring in Wendell, or stick with Franco against Polanco?
Polanco, one of the best Cardinal hitters off the bench. And Big Mac. Dave Wallace coming out of the dugout, making sure that Polanco was announced. And I think Bobby Valentine. Well, Wallace is running out there, and usually when he runs, that means he'll lead the pitcher in there.
Dennis Cook, a left-hander, joining Wendell out of the Mets bullpen.
Tony La Russa also has J.D. Drew on the bench. So if they go to the right-hander, I would imagine J.D. Drew would be called on to pinch hit for Polanco.
Well, they've made the call to the bullpen. Turk Wendell will be the man on the mound. That much we know. Who will be at the plate? That's still up in the air. Who's on deck? Goes 2/3 of an inning. A hit, a walk, a wild pitch, and now Turk Wendell is in. Slams down the rosin bag. The numbers during the regular season. And he will deal with J.D. Drew off the bench to bat for Polanco, who was announced as the pinch hitter for Ray Langford. These two facing one another for the first time ever. Tying run at second, 2 out. Strike one from Wendell. Drew 57 RBIs during the regular season, 18 home runs. On the outside corner, it's 0-2.
Edgardo Alfonso on the outfield grass. That's how deep he is. Man on second, 2 outs. If an infielder can't make a play, at least knock it down to prevent Clark from scoring.
With a large figure looming near the on-deck circle, the person of McGuire. It's 0-2 on Drew. A ball and 2 strikes. Game 2 of this league championship series. Mets won last night. They lead tonight 5-4 in the 8th. Tying run at second, 2 out. Drew 2-2. Into center field. This game is tied. Knocks it down. Drew's at second. The go-ahead run. 5-5 in the 8th.
Five straight fastballs to J.D. Drew. He ended up hitting a seemingly impossible pitch. Watch him dive out over the plate and plunk it into center field. What a piece of hitting by Drew. And now this is an easy call right here.
McGuire gets the intentional pass. Here's ball 3. The only other reserve that Tony La Russa has is Rick Wilkins, the third catcher on this active roster. He's already used Marrero and now Carlos Hernandez. Paquette will bat with 2 on, 2 out. We'll have a pinch runner, Darryl Kyle, last night's Game 1 starter for the Cardinals. He'll run for McGuire.
I get your drift, Joe, because Carlos Hernandez is already in the game. He's the second catcher. If you pinch hit Rick Wilkins there instead of McGuire, then what you're doing is you're wasting your third catcher, and you have no one to go in to catch should something happen in that very vulnerable position.
Well, what this does do is get Dave Veers out of the game by pinch hitting McGuire. Veers is gone, and Mike Timlin is getting ready for the Cardinals in their bullpen. Veers only facing one batter tonight. 2 on, 2 out. Paquette at the plate. He could put the Cardinals on top. But really no real choice there for Tony La Russa. You're not going to send in a pitcher to swing the bat and end this 8th inning here. He's got a chance, and the Cardinals have a chance with a hit out of Paquette to take the lead for the first time tonight. A ball and a strike.
Being whimsical. If you want McGuire to hit, if you're J.D. Drew, you stop at first.
But you have to play the game the right way.
Absolutely.
You have to get down to second.
I was saying that whimsically.
Paquette 2 on, 2 out. A clunker back foul and out of play. Strike 2. So Timlin will be on the mound for St. Louis in the top of the 9th inning. Either trying to keep it tied or trying to save it for Dave Veers. Right now, that's up to Paquette and Turk Wendell. Two and 2. Paquette struck out back in the 7th. That was against Leiter. He has a chance here to put St. Louis on top for the first time in this LCS. Chased it, and he's gone. Good pitch by Wendell. But it comes a couple of batters too late for Turk and the Mets. J.D. Drew, the pinch hit, 2 out, RBI double. After 8, Game 2, tied at 5. More of the World Series on Fox for the $1 million Gillette Strike Zone Challenge. This has been a fight here tonight. A couple of changes, actually 3, as Dunston moves from right into left field. J.D. Drew, the latest hero for the Cardinals, is in the game in right field. He delivered the game-tying hit. Now trying to keep it tied for St. Louis is a right-hander, Mike Timlin.
Mike Timlin coming over from the Baltimore Orioles on July 31st. Actually, July 29th. Timlin 3-1 for the Cardinals with 1 save. His best year in saves, 1996. Toronto Blue Jays, he saved 31. Armando Benitez, speaking of saves, up and throwing for the Mets in case they take the lead.
Robin Ventura will lead it off for New York here in the 9th inning. Timlin has been involved in the postseason before. working for the first time in this LCS, but for the 8th time in his career. The back-to-back World Championship years for the Blue Jays in '91 and '92. As Ventura, part of the White Sox, back in '93 when Timlin and the Blue Jays faced him in the LCS. Ventura leading it off. Timlin throws as hard as anyone the Cardinals have out of their bullpen. The problem with him is control. Agbayani next. And then Payton. 3-0.
One would not assume Ventura will be swinging here, but he might be.
3-1. Ventura, 1 home run in this postseason. That came in Game 4, the clincher of the division series against the Giants. He's up on the count here, 3-1, and he rips it to first off Clark's foot. That's a base hit. Clark was there and he missed it. Hard hit, but he missed it, and it's an error on Will Clark.
I think Clark thought the ball was going to come up. It stayed down, hit him on the right foot. A lot of times you have to read the hop. Will failed to do that. The ball stayed down, hit him in the right foot, and an error to open up the 9th inning on Will Clark.
Now you ask the question of Agbayani, is he up there to bunt?
He hasn't bunted all year. Some guys get to the big leagues, they don't know how to bunt. They're just wasting it bad. I think he'll be swinging.
Go ahead, run it first with nobody out. 9th inning, a 5-5 game. Saying if Agbayani would tip his hand, and he did not square around. For the Mets, 5 of their last 9 postseason wins came in their last at bat. Go ahead, run it first with nobody out. He's going to swing, and he takes a strike over the inside corner. Jay Payton next as Agbayani checks with Cookie Rojas, the third base coach for the Mets. Benitez gets loose out beyond the left center field wall. Timlin trying to pitch around an error to start the inning. Now he's going to bunt, and he jabs at it. Could not have rolled it out there any better. Sacrifice good, 3-4, and down to second as Ventura one away.
So Benny Agbayani saves his first sacrifice of the season for the 6th postseason game of the Mets. How about that? Not only that, a blueprint down the first base line.
Well, Benny Agbayani had to call timeout and ask Cookie Rojas to go through the signs once again. That's probably the first time he's seen the bunt sign all year long.
Well, he got it right. He got it down, and now Joe McEwing is off the bench. McEwing still, even in this situation, draws a nice reaction from the fans here in St. Louis. Ventura reaching on the error is gone. Lifted for the pinch runner. They gain some speed with McEwing on the bases. Talked earlier when Payton hit in the 7th inning that he had what was a game-winning hit for the Mets in this postseason already. It came in Game 2. 10th inning, scoring Darrell Hamilton. And what was a 5-4 Mets win. Benitez could not close the door, but John Franco did, striking out Barry Bonds looking on a 3-2 changeup with tying run on. Now it's Payton at the plate with McEwing at second, 1 out, facing Timlin. Strike 1. Remember, after Payton, it's now Matt Franco in the lineup. Second in the National League. They had 2 in the division series. 1-run victories. The Cardinals in the bottom of the 9th inning will have the top of the order. Vina, Renteria, Edmonds. Go ahead run at second, 1 out. And an 0-1 count on Payton. Strike 2.
Cardinals certainly know this. Jay Payton is apt to swing at bad balls with 2 strikes on him. Matt Franco on deck. Jay Payton, a bad ball swinger when he's behind in the count as he is now.
You've got Franco on deck, and then remember Bordick, who's got the bad thumb in the number 9 spot. If they get the opportunity, they might pitch around Franco and leave it up to Bordick.
Or just walk him intentionally. Don't even fool with him.
But right now it's Payton. Go ahead run at second, 1 out in the 0-2. 1-2. Guys that have been so vital in the success of each of these 2 teams. So many just sitting and watching. Along with these fans, along with you. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Runner at second, 1 out. Pickoff play back at second. 2 strikes on this hitter, Payton. That's taking a chance with 1 out here in the inning.
Well, that's what speed does. It detracts you from the task at hand. McEwing bouncing around back there. Cardinals know that.
Runner at second, 1 out. 1-2 pitch. Out of play. And there's Payton extending the strike zone.
Especially the breaking ball away and down. A lot of young hitters are like that, and yes, Jay Payton is a young hitter. No, he's 27 years old, his first full year in the big leagues.
Dennis Cook getting ready for the Mets. May enter if this game stays 5-5 in the bottom of the 9th. Timlin's 1-2. Another foul out of play. Has been through some kind of night tonight. More control trouble. Only 2/3 of an inning. 3 walks, 2 wild pitches. Weems, Morris, Fears, now Timlin out of the bullpen following Ankiel to the mound for St. Louis. The 1-2 to Payton. Into center field. That's a base hit. It gets by Edmonds into score McEwing. Down to second, and now heading for third is Payton. And he's there with only 1 out. The Mets leading 6-5 in the 9th. Jay Payton delivers for New York. An error tacked on, and now an extra run only 90 feet away.
You can even understand the error. A great job of hitting by Jay Payton, but it did not look like J.D. Drew recovered in time. Edmonds, I beg your pardon. It looks like Edmonds is not running hard after the ball. The ball by Edmonds, but just kind of jogging after it, and that allows Payton to get to third base with 1 out.
Now Matt Franco with the infield in takes strike 1.
Here it is again. Ball appeared to be off the plate away, but once Payton sees it get by Edmonds, and he sees Edmonds not going hard after it, he goes to third base.
Infield in, 0-1 to Franco is outside. It's a single RBI for Payton and an error on the center fielder, Edmonds. One reaction to the next, and now Matt Franco in the hole, 1-2.
A run in any language. Timo Perez, Vinny Agbayani, Mike Piazza.
2 errors in this inning, and those are the 2 culprits. Will Clark at first and Jim Edmonds at center. Matt Franco trying to tack on another run. For the second baseman, Vina. Payton holds at third, and he's there with 2 out.
Here's what we were talking about with Jim Edmonds, a center fielder. Payton hits the ball hard. No chance for Jim to make the play. But watch after the ball gets by him. Bad hop. Now not running hard, looking back and really taking his time getting to the ball. Had he hurriedly gotten to the ball, and he probably holds Payton to second base. No damage done since the ground ball by Matt Franco didn't plate Payton.
Now Bordick will hit. Runner at third, 2 out. And he tests Renteria in the hole with a backhand long throw. Got him. Good play, and the inning is over. But not before Jay Payton, the 27-year-old rookie, delivers again for the New York Mets. He did it in Game 2 of the Division Series. He does it in Game 2 of the National League Championship Series. Bottom of the ninth. Game at third base. Armando Benitez takes over to try to save it. Vina, ball 1. A quick glimpse of those stats. 7 postseason home runs allowed in the young career of Armando Benitez. Vina, 1 ball, 1 strike. Steve Lyons talking about Armando Benitez and his propensity to give up the long ball in the month of October. Not a home run threat to the plate here, and Vina's up on the count, 2 balls and a strike. Renteria, who has 3 hits in 4 at-bats, 3 stolen bases, an RBI, a run scored, is on deck. Vina pops it up, and that'll get out of play. 2-2. The 2 runs charged against John Franco in the bottom of the 8th. Kirk Wendell in line for the win if Benitez can hang on to this 1-run lead. 6-5 Mets. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Vina. Vina leading off, pops it up. Shallow center for Payton. The Mets are 2 outs away from a victory in Game 2.
And Fernando Vina may have gone after ball 4. That ball right around the letters. It probably would have been called a ball. Cardinals have their hottest hitter in Renteria at the plate right now.
Now it's Renteria. With Edmonds on deck. On the inside corner, strike 1. One ball, 1 strike. Timlin on the hook. In line for the loss unless his teammates rally. Renteria after that pitch in the dirt. It's 1-2.
Looked like a split finger fastball. And I think Renteria will see that pitch again. I don't think he'll see another fastball unless the count goes to 3-2. He got a fastball, didn't he? Woo.
Up and out over the plate. Renteria fouled it straight back. Still 1-2. LCS history. Teams taking a 2-0 lead have gone on to win 28 of 32 series. The Cardinals, one of those teams that defied the odds as Renteria pops it into shallow right center. Payton is taking care of the first two. And it's now Edmonds with 2 out, nobody on. Edmonds grounded out back in the 8th inning. Grimaced after that swing. He's been bothered by a sore knee this season. And then when he grounded to first, didn't run. And after misplaying this ball in center, didn't go hard to recover out in the outfield after the ball got behind him.
So in fairness, that could have been the reason that he didn't go hard after the ball once it eluded him.
And in the end, it didn't cost the Cardinals anything.
Nope.
Payton never did cross the plate. Now Edmonds, who hit 42 home runs during the regular season, trying to extend this game. 6-5 Mets, 9th inning, 2 out, nobody on. The Mets trying to take a 2-0 series advantage. 2-0. McGuire's already been used. On deck, Carlos Hernandez.
Such respect for Jim Edmonds, representing the tying run. I don't think he'll get a fastball here. Edmonds with 2 walk-off home runs in early September against the Mets.
Fastball, but it's wasted way out of the strike zone. 3-0.
Got to be swinging here, one would think.
On the corner, 3-1. Carlos Hernandez, who hit 3 home runs all season, has 1 in the postseason, so 4 total. Waits to hit next. An 0 for 4 night so far for Edmonds. (3-1) from Benitez. Tying run is on. A 2-out walk, and they were very careful with Edmonds, especially with Carlos Hernandez hitting behind him. A home run for Hernandez in Game 2 of the division series here in St. Louis against Atlanta. Did that against Glavine. Different type on the mound now. Armando Benitez, who misses with ball 1. Carlos Hernandez could end it one of 2 ways, with an out or with a homer. Will Clark waits on deck. Bad back and all. Would Hernandez break his bat on a swing and a miss? Evidently.
He may have discovered a hairline fracture, or maybe he broke it by leaning on it. But he broke it nonetheless.
And a count, a ball and a strike.
Not making bats like they used to, Joe, when you break one swinging and missing.
Bo Jackson used to do it over his thigh.
Yeah.
Hernandez did it across his broad back. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 on, 2 out. Tying run at first. Ninth inning, game 2. NLCS, 6-5 Mets. Check swing, strike 2, and the Mets are 1 strike away from heading back to New York, up 2-0. Cardinals have stranded 7 runners on tonight. They left 11 on last night. Mets win it 6-5, and they lead this NLCS 2-0. They pitched around Edmonds here in the 9th inning, and they put away Hernandez and the Cardinals. That strikeout ends it. A long night of baseball, 3 hours 59 minutes, longest 9-inning game in NLCS history.
Wow.
The winner is Wendell, the loser is Timlin, and the save for Benitez. First of this postseason, 3rd in his career in the postseason, and a hard-fought win for the New York Mets, who head home for game 3 on Saturday afternoon. And there's the hero, at least the 9th inning hero for the Mets, Jay Payton. He delivered with a 1-out single into center field to score the winning run. Joe McEwing pinch running for Ventura, who had reached on an error by Will Clark at first.
After all those years of rehabbing that elbow, reconstructive surgery, Jay Payton could only watch during the postseason. But this year he has contributed, and I mean contributed mightily.
Let's go down to the field and Keith Olbermann. Keith.
All right, Joe, Al Leiter is with me. Did not get the victory, but that doesn't matter much to you, I'm sure, at this point. You guys, other than last night, just don't play easy playoff games.
No, and that's why I got a bad stomach right now. It's amazing, but we keep coming back, even though we had the lead and I kind of blew it, and then we came back again. That's kind of been the way we've been playing, very resilient.
The Cardinals played this game as if everything depended on it, and you would expect that from them. Is it typical of them and of you that this is the result that we got?
I'll tell you, I felt it. I saw it. Renteria had some great at-bats, and Tatis, right on down the line. It was tough at-bats. Every batter seemed like such a battle, and we figure that's going to happen. It's certainly not over yet.
All right, 2-0 going back to New York. Thank you, Al. Congratulations. Joe Buck, back to you.
All right, Keith, thanks, and thanks to Al Leiter. Tonight's game produced by Michael Weissman, directed by Bill Webb. Our tape producers, Carol Langley, McDermott, Aaron Stoikov. The associate director, Larry Lancaster. Our broadcast associates, Derek Manning and Michael Fitzgerald. Pre-game show produced by Gary Lang, directed by Ray Tipton. The associate director, Kathy Hunt, and the broadcast associate, Brian Rowe. Our thanks, as always, to Steve Horn here in the booth. For Tim McCarver, Bob Brenly, Keith Olbermann, Steve Lyons, I'm Joe Buck. So long from St. Louis. Final score, 6-5 tonight. 2-0 for the Mets in this series so far, going back to Shea. For more information on tonight's game and information from around Major League Baseball, log on to foxsports.com. You've been watching Fox Sports coverage of Major League Baseball, home of the 2000 World Series. We'll talk to you on Saturday afternoon, 4 Eastern, Game 3. Mets up 2-0. Good night from St. Louis.
Back after it for Steve Lyons, I'm Keith Olbermann, Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, Bob Brenly on deck to bring you the action. Stand by for this break, and then please let us take you out to the ball game.
Championship series between the New York Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everyone. I'm Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, and Bob Brenly in just a moment. Around these parts, the fans and the Cardinals themselves wondering what in the world they're going to get out of their young 21-year-old left-hander Rick Ankiel, who starts tonight. Are they going to get what he did in Game 1 in the division series against Atlanta, when he lasted only 2 2/3 innings and unleashed 5 wild pitches in the 3rd inning? Or, and he's good enough to do this, will he shut down the Mets attack as the Cardinals try to even this series at a game apiece? I welcome in my partner, Tim McCarver. And Tim, the Mets think they know what they're going to get out of Al Leiter tonight. He has a proven track record. He's been good in big games in days past. But let's talk about the Mets offense. They're getting more offense, it would seem, lately out of the big bats in their lineup.
Coach of the Mets, John Stearns, last night saying the monster is out. Well, the monsters were out, and were the monsters ever mashing last night? Mike Piazza with an RBI double to start off the Mets in the first inning. Robin Ventura with the sac fly, and Todd Zeile with his first home run in postseason. So the guys who were 6 for 42 in divisional play, 3 for 10 last night.
One name that was not on that list, probably the toughest out in the Mets lineup, is Edgardo Alfonzo. For more about the All-Star second baseman, let's go down field side and talk to Bob Brenly.
Well, thank you, Joe. You know, in a city of superlatives where everything is the biggest and the brightest and the best, Edgardo Alfonzo is being hailed as the best baseball player in the Big Apple. His first All-Star game this season, what figures to be the first of many, carried that regular season success right into the postseason.
Full moon in St. Louis. Rick Ankiel, game 1 against Atlanta, had 5 wild pitches. His very first pitch of the night, Timo Perez, look out. Tony La Russa, dicey. Same at bat, Perez, the 3-2 pitch. Down he goes. Next man up for New York is Edgardo Alfonzo. Way outside. Look out in the front row. Another pitch is going to miss high. Alfonzo walks, and already La Russa is on the telephone. Get me somebody warming up. Next man up, Mike Piazza. Wild pitch. Alfonzo to second. Same at bat. Ankiel is wild again. Piazza walks. His 7th wild pitch in this postseason. Alfonzo to third. After Todd Zeile's sac fly made it 1-0 Mets, Benny Agbayani, left center base hit. Piazza comes around to score. So the Mets up 2-zip. Ankiel goes just 2/3 of an inning, gives up 2 earned runs, 2 wild pitches, and walks 3. Britt Reams in to pitch for the Cards. Jay Payton, ring him up, sit him down. That ends the inning. In the top of the third, it's 2-1 Mets. And it's Mike Piazza had the RBI double in game 1, and a swing and a drive here, and it's gone over the wall and right. His first home run of the postseason. Mets up 3-1. Top 4, Mets bases loaded. 2 outs. St. Louis fans can't watch. Robin Ventura, he's been hitting the ball hard, hits the ball hard again, but again right out of fielder. Fernando Vina makes the play. Bottom 4. It's a man on third, Mark McGuire. Will he get his chance to hit? Ray Lankford, down he goes. McGuire still waiting. Eli Marrero at the plate, down he goes. So McGuire doesn't get up to the plate in that inning. Bottom 5, Cards down 3-2. It's Fernando Tatis, who's been struggling. Finally gets a hit, 1 for 3 in this contest. Renteria scores, we're tied at 3. Now it's Al Leiter still in there. Renteria to Timo Perez. Perez with one of the great plays. Watch it again as Leiter is able to get out of the 7th. Perez with a spectacular effort in right field. Top 8, man on first, Edgardo Alfonzo. And guess who the man on first is? Perez, maybe the only guy that could have scored on the Mets on this play. Alfonzo, his 5th straight game with an RBI. That's tied for the 2nd longest streak ever in the postseason. Perez to go-ahead run. In there, 4-3 New York. They intentionally walk Piazza to get to Todd Zeile. Zeile continuing to swing well, 2 for 3 in the game. Alfonzo scores to make it 5-3. Piazza caught in a rundown. And he's tagged out, but the Mets up by 2. Bottom 8. John Franco in as Al Leiter went 7. Franco in to pitch the 8th. In the dirt here, Carlos Hernandez comes in to score, and the Cards within 1. They're down 5-4. Still bottom 8. J.D. Drew pinch hitting. Base hit up the middle off Turk Wendell. Will Clark the tying run. He's in, and we're now all tied up at 5. Mark McGuire finally gets in here. They only have Rick Wilkins left on the bench, so they pinch hit with McGuire. Even though the first base is open, they knew they would intentionally walk him, and that's what they did. He pinch hits for Dave Veers. Craig Paquette then strikes out, but because Dave Veers has been pinch hit for, it's Mike Timlin in here to pitch the 9th, and Joe McEwing on the bases. Jay Payton comes through again. McEwing is the go-ahead run, comes in to score. Payton all the way to third, another huge hit for him. Mets up 6-5, and they win it by the 6-5 final. The game very much like Game 2 of the NLDS against the Giants. The Mets blow a late-inning lead and then come back to win on a hit by Payton. Al Leiter winless now in 9 postseason starts, but the bullpen lets him down.